First time I've been here in a while. Welcome. Welcome back. An interview will start in about like 5 minutes. So, just a heads up. I won't be so responsive to the chat. But Noah, how's it going? How's it been? Hello, hello. How's it been though? How's it been? You good or? It's been good. That's nice. That's nice. Right now, I'm about to have a interview with a concept artist from across the pond. From across the pond, London. You know what I'm saying? It's Tuesday, isn't it? You know, 5 minutes. Also, it's been snowing real hard outside, so yeah, we're kind of like in the midst of a snowstorm. It might be like 8 to 9 inches, possibly even more. So as I never come in anyway. Yeah, yeah. You could stay a while. Miguel, is that you? Uh, Miguel, is that you?
Yes, hello.
All right. Let's get this started.
Have you started the stream?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Cool. Let me
Give me a second. I think the thing is it was not showing on the. Hold on.
do a test real quick.
All right.
Um Hold on real quick. I'm just seeing if okay. I think okay, great. I was just looking at your stream, making sure I was like loud enough.
All right. All right. All right. Good. Yeah. No.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
basically the thing it's actually kind of I don't know. It's funny or maybe unprofessional, depending on how you'd see it. When I had the first stream with Ryan, um, the
Yeah.
the desktop audio was like way lower than my mic audio, and then when I heard it back, I was like, oh no, they can barely hear
Yeah,
Ryan.
I've streamed before in the past, so I'm always like I always double check just to make sure like the levels are okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
I mean, like it's kind of like it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know if it was like appropriate to say funny, but like it's kind of ironic where it's like for years and years and years before this, I was talking about like how much I really wanted to be like a podcaster,
mhm.
and then basically I do this, and the first thing I mess up is like the most important part of a podcast, the sound, and it's
Yeah.
like it's just I look at that and it's like Jesus Christ, that is embarrassing. All
It's
right.
I mean it's tough, like the technical stuff's always tough. You just once your first time doing it, your first time doing it. So,
Yeah, yeah. All right. You know what? Before we get into the conversation, let's start with with introductions. I think
Okay.
so. Like Miguel, who are you, and what have you done, and what are you about?
I've done absolutely nothing with my life. No, I'm my name my name is Miguel Coronado III, but I go by Mike online, and like at work, a couple people call me Mike. But I'm a concept artist. I've been working in the games industry for about 10 years now, and I also do freelance illustration and art direction. And I I'm from Texas originally, from Austin, Texas, and I moved to LA for about 8 years, and now I live in London. And I work with the LA company still, so that's kind of my background a little bit. And then I've been doing concept art and illustration since 2012. After I switched careers, I decided to focus on art, and yeah, then it was kind of like just learning the ropes and making sure I was good enough, and then yeah, it kind of went on from there. That's kind of, and I'm here in London now, so yeah,
All right, you're across the pond, in London,
yeah.
the land of terribly seasoned food and beans on toast. That's gotta be rough.
The beans are very different. Like I'm like Mexican or like Latino, but like the beans I grew up with are very different from the beans they cook here. Uh, but yeah, I don't much eat for the beans here, but I still make my own food. So
Okay, okay. So, hmm, what companies have you worked for specifically, if you don't mind me asking? Because like I've perused through your website once, and then I saw like like Skybound, and I was like, holy shit, you work for Skybound? That's so cool.
um, so a lot of those companies I worked with through the video game company that I'm partnered at. Um, we've worked with Disney and who else? Disney and Square Enix and Skybound. Um, so we worked with a lot of companies through that company. So I've had firsthand, interactions with those companies, and then separately through my freelance, I've worked with several RPG companies, Madison Wells Media. Um, who else? I'm losing track of. Well, let me look at my own thing. Madison Wells Media. Let's see. Here we go. Who else did I work with? There was a few. Oh yeah, yeah. I work with Sector in Games, Anki. That was one of my first freelance jobs that really like paid me like a living wage.
Nice.
I don't think they're around anymore though. I don't know if Anki's still a company. Uh, um, Modifius. I'm currently working with Modifius. I'm working on a board game with them. Um, and then some of these clients are small like film production studios, and like some of them are just small RPG companies. But they're all good. They're all good clients, and I've had fun working on all of them.
All right, that's awesome. It's like I said, before your concept art job, did you have any or your concept art jobs? Did you have any like what was your past career?
So I've been drawing all my life. So like I've always been sketching, and I've had sketchbooks since I was like in fourth grade. Maybe I think since fourth grade I was started keeping them regularly.
Mm,
But I originally I studied art at the University of Texas, and I got really into the haunted attraction industry. So I was a production designer for a haunted house for a few years after college, and so I did lots of costumes, special effects, makeup, and set design and set construction, and that was kind of my original career path. And I was there for a while, and then I realized like there's not really much, there's no, there's not many places you can go in that career. Like you either work at a big theme park, like you go and work at Universal Studios, or you keep working in the haunted house industry, and like you just go and expand, and like or you make your own haunted house. There's only so many things you could do there. And I was like, okay, I can't, this can't be the only thing I do ever. So I had to like try something else out. And we used to at the haunted house job, we looked at like film and video games for inspiration.
Mm.
And so I was like, well, if we're looking at them for inspiration, why don't I just go work for them like instead? That way I don't have to be copying stuff from film and video games. We can like I can just make new stuff, you know. But so that was kind of one of the reasons I left, um, and yeah, so yeah, and then uh, I'd always wanted to do illustration, but I wasn't sure what kind of illustration I wanted to do. I started trying to do like more editorial illustration for like magazines and stuff, but that's a little more. Those are a little more like abstract. Um, they can be more abstract, like illustrations that kind of like like invoke a feeling of an article or something, versus like the more literal illustrations of like board game and fantasy stuff where you're like, oh, I'm just drawing a goblin because
Mm.
that's what I need to draw. It's just a goblin, but
Nice, nice. Yeah, like I kind of it's like when you immediately talked about like how you kind of like wanted to go from a production des- from a production designer in a haunted house to a concept artist. I immediately thought of like it's like a younger Miguel, like go my life can't just be like spooky scary skeletons. I need more.
well, that I mean, yeah, like that's all it is. Like I like horror movies a lot, and I like horror like the genre. Um, but that's probably still my favorite genre. But it's just like it's kind of like that movie um, Nightmare Before Christmas, where like they like celebrate Halloween and they're like, "We did it, we did Halloween," and they go, "All right, let's ready for next year," and then that's all they do. Like all they do is just focus on Halloween nonstop. Like it does get kind of like a little tedious to think about Halloween nonstop all year long with like when there's other things going on in the life. You're like so focused on Halloween, it's hard to take it real seriously.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Wait, since you talked about the genre of horror, I think you know, what are your favorite horror movies? That what are some classics for you?
Classics. The movie that got me into film, um, in general, like filmmaking in general, was The Evil Dead.
Oh my God, the
Uh,
Evil Dead series.
yeah, the I saw The Evil Dead in high school, and I was like, something about it, and then I started reading about like the production behind it, and it was like they kind of did it themselves, and it was like the Sam Raimi kind of did it with a bunch of friends, and then it it was so fun, and it just seemed doable. I was like, well, if they could do it, then like we could do that. Like I could do that. So Evil Dead was one of the first like big ones for me. That really inspired me to like do film work and special effects makeup. And then some of the classics like The Shining. I love The Shining. Um, the There's like some of those '80s horror movies I really love, like Lost Boys, which isn't like the best film. Like if you actually watch it now, it's like it's not the best film, but like back then when I watched it, it was like really cool, and I was like, this is like the sickest film ever. I watched horror movies like I watched lots of rated R movies back when I was like in second and third grade, so I've been exposed to that kind of stuff for a long time.
Yeah, I think one favorite horror movie of mine as a kid. Well like I'm not really a big horror guy. Like
Hmm.
basically, okay. So back when I was six, I back when my grandma was still with us, we would
Hmm.
visit her house, and me and my uncles and my aunts, and we come from a very Catholic family, and we watch the
Me
thing.
too.
Yeah, and like we watched a movie. It wasn't The Exorcist, but it was kind of like the bootleg Dominican version, and it was called Andrea or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that I that movie scared the absolute bejesus out of 6-year-old me. Like I was just the moment that they put me into bed and they turned off the lights. Moments later, I was crying because I was afraid that Andrea would get me. It was
Yeah.
yeah, and like that put me off from horror movies for a very long time. And then on high school, kind of had a little bit of a horror resurgence, and I think it started off with, I think, The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. It
Oh
was
yeah, yeah. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah, it was very high budget, but like it was a cool sci-fi horror film that instead of focusing on like jump scares and and just like outwardly violent or creepy imagery, it focused on the building of paranoia, which is something that I kind of really like. It was like a basically this monster wasn't like any other like slasher. It's like it kind of sowed distrust amongst this this small community of scientists in this outpost in Antarctica. It was like isolation, paranoia. It was just this perfect combination, and the special effects, the practical special effects themselves were insanely like just creepy. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't show the monster, but when it did, it was like holy shit, that thing exists. You know,
Yeah, that The Thing's one of my favorite films. Yeah, The Thing's one of my favorite films for sure, and like yeah, that's one of the classics that like I mean everyone that's into horror I think likes The Thing. It's just like one of the
it's a staple.
gold standards for horror films that came out. You know.
Yeah, and then of course, I think I got into uh, what's another horror film that I think I like. Well, of course, Evil Dead. The first one was I think the first one I respect, but the second one I love.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Lots of people like the second one a lot.
I think like the
Um,
yeah.
no, I was gonna say that one's interesting because it starts off as like a strict horror movie, and then the second one gets crazy, and then the third one just is straight up comedy, and it's just like it's a weird evolution from like a they would never do that now with like a film where they would never have like a film that's just scary, and then like the next one's kind of like surreal, and then the last one's like just straight up comedy with slapstick. Like they just don't do that kind of thing anymore. It was just weird that it happened back then.
Yeah, like it's like I've never like I feel like Evil Dead in and of itself was kind of like a horror anomaly. It's like the first one, it's like very horrible things happen to these sad group of teenage not sad group but to these poor group of teenagers. One
Yeah.
chick like she gets GRAPED by a tree, then she gets possessed. It's like
Yeah, it's
and then dozens of people like very screwed up shit happens like to her friends or her brother's the only person that survived. Then basically like it just in the next movie it's like he's still stuck in that cabin and his hand gets possessed and then it becomes this big Tom and Jerry you know like routine with him and his own hand after
yeah, yeah,
and then next thing you know he's he traveled back in time all the way to the medieval era, and he's like fighting alongside I think King Arthur against like the
yeah.
army of the undead.
Yeah. It gets crazy and like Army of Darkness. I saw that I think on TV. My parents were like, "Oh, this is like a funny film," and I watched Army of Darkness, and then I was watching this old cartoon called Reboot. Do you know what Reboot is?
I I have an idea. I was
It's a cartoon from the '90s about like it's a 3D animated cartoon from the '90s that is about a computer people that lived in a computer. It's hard to describe, but it's like they did a reference in Reboot to Evil Dead, and I remember watching Reboot, and I was like, "Hey, that's the guy from Army of Darkness," and I was like, he's in the show. It was really weird because it was such a clear reference, and then I kind of started doing some research on it, and it was like, well, the Evil Dead film is part of Army of Darkness, and I was like putting together like backwards that like this series was like a horror movie series, and that none of the other films were like funny the way the last one was. Like, and so I watched them kind of in reverse, and I watched Evil Dead, and it was like, um, I just remember going like, this is like crazy. Like this one's not funny at all, and like it was really intense. And then like the second one gets even crazier and like surreal almost. And then yeah, then I came back to that last one. Then you find out about Sam Raimi. He loves the Three Stooges, and so like he kind of wanted to incorporate Three Stooges gags in each film, like slowly as they like it gets more and more ramped up with each film.
I think okay, so I think my relationship with kind of like like with that is that like of course like when I was a kid I've always loved superheroes. I've adored them. Like my favorite one
Yeah.
is obviously like Spider Man. And
Hmm.
basically uh, the film the superhero trilogy that I hold nearest and dear to my heart is basically the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and
Yeah.
basically just like that film is kind of like it's like the benchmark of like superhero movies that like it's like I compare it's like I'm kind of like that like that type of person where it's like they have like they have a relationship with like say a person, and for some reason it doesn't work out. Like I had like the first relationship ever, and it
Yeah.
it doesn't work out, and then basically you know every other relationship I'm in, I compare my current partner to my old partner. It's like, oh, it's like it's like Andrew's not like Toby. He would Toby would do this, or Tom's not like Toby. Toby would do this.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that would
Yeah. Well,
oh, I keep going.
I no, I was gonna say Spider-Man came out when I was like in high school, I think. Maybe I was middle school. I don't know exactly. Spider-Man came out later for me, and it was amazing. Not the Amazing Spider-Man, but it was an amazing movie. And the film I grew up like the superhero film I grew up watching was Batman with Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that was my favorite one. I really like the like next to the new Matt Reeves one. I really like the Tim Burton one. I feel like the Tim Burton managed to kind of like get that say like Art Deco like very
yeah,
gothic look to Batman. I like it. Like it's kind of it's kind of stupid, but like I always thought like it's like when I saw Tim Burton's Batman, I was like, you know what, that makes sense. That's Gotham.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think that was like I mean for a while that was like the only superhero movie. Like it was like they had the Superman movies, but I feel like the Batman films were there was just way more of them. They were way more popular than the Superman film. I know there was a few Superman films with like Christopher Reeves, but like there just wasn't as many coming out as the Batman films. I never watched any of the Superman films, but I've never been a fan of Superman. He's okay. I just don't think he's that interesting. But that's just my own. I also grew up. I was more of like a Marvel Comics kid, so like the X Men were my favorite
Oh, the X
group.
Men.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I also kind of grew up with the X Men. Um, basically, uh, I think the first time I've heard of the X Men were the movies, and then over time, I kind of got introduced to the comics. Um,
yeah,
and the quite frankly, like my favorite era of X Men comics were kind of like the Chris Claremont era. I think it was like very cool and esoteric, and the characters like were like I think the characters like were I think more I don't know, they were kind of like more authentic than like well than what I see now. Like the I feel like the X Men writers now, I don't know, it's the way I see X Men now is how a lot of old Star Wars fans see Star Wars now, and it's like it's like
Yeah.
it's just like it's I read the X Men comics, and it's like the magic's not there anymore. It's like for some reason, you know, Magneto is cool. Like it's like I thought Magneto was kind of like this cautionary tale about like revenge, and like he was kind of like the personification of like Nietzsche's quote of whoever fights monsters should see to it that they themselves do not become one. It's like
Mm.
it's like
Yeah.
also it's like X Men '97. I feel like I don't know. I keep on thinking about it, and like it's like the more and more I think about it, it's like, damn, Charles Xavier, he's kind of dumb, isn't he? Like, why would he do any of the stuff that's in the show? It's like, what?
Yeah. I think the one when I was a kid, so I was introduced to the X-Men through the cartoon, and my dad and my brother and I would watch it every Saturday. And that was my first introduction. And then my dad, he liked comic books, so we get comic books. We get the X-Men comic books, and it was right at the height. It was like right at the height of like Jim Lee and like the '90s comics boom. So like comic books were like huge, um, in ways that they haven't really been
Been now.
before. Like it was like nuts. Everyone loved comics at that time, but they're trying to make money off it. That was the only reason they were. That was the only reason they were into it. Everyone thought they could like like get limited editions and get rich off of them.
It's like, hey,
It,
if I buy this the first issue of Dazzler and hold
yeah,
on to it and sell it on eBay, I could put my kid through through college.
yeah, and then there wasn't. Yeah, and back then there wasn't even eBay, so it was like
All right.
people were just holding on to it, like just to like auction, I guess, in the future somewhere. But it did some cool things for the comics industry because like I feel like there was a lot more comics coming out, but then like like then the whole crash happened and like a bunch of comic book stores had to close down, which sucked. Um,
Yeah.
but I barely noticed it though because I was just like such a little kid at the time, so like I just noticed that like comic book stores we used to go to were like shutting down, and I was like, oh, that's weird. But then like it was just around the same time like the Barnes and Noble was getting really big, so like um, you could find the you could find the trade paperbacks at Barnes and Noble, and I was just interested in reading the stories. I didn't really care about collecting. So like I could just go to Barnes and Noble and buy the trade paperbacks and read the stories and just follow the stories I wanted to follow.
Hmm.
But yeah.
All right.
Um, so what about you? Are you big into comics, or are you more into like television, film, or
No, no,
like
I'm
why are you trying to be an artist?
okay.
What got you into it?
Okay, so I think I'm very big into comic books. I
Okay.
think for like I think it all started in middle school. Middle school was a very was not a great time for me,
Hmm.
like at all.
Yeah, mine wasn't either.
Yeah, like essentially I kind of got into middle school like a very young age. I think I was kind of like I was like my birthday was like a December birthday. So for I think I kind of got into middle school at the age of 10. I was very sheltered. I didn't like a lot of the kids, were kind of like making were kind of like making a lot of like sex jokes that I didn't exactly get. I
Yeah.
only repeated them to like try and fit in, but even then it just made me look stupid. Um, I kind of got picked on a lot, and essentially like drawing and comic books were essentially just a giant were essentially kind of like a big escape that really helped me.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake that I did socially was like I was trying to. I mean, it wasn't that much of a mistake because some of the kids weren't into it too, but I was I tried to share some of it, then my enjoyment of the comic books, and then like of course like
Mhm.
2013 middle school, lots of homophobic jokes. So it's
So,
every time like
so it hasn't changed since I was in school.
yeah, it has not changed at all. Basically, so when I would when a Spider-Man movie would come on, uh, they'd be like, "Hey Jacob, Spider-Man's on. Your boyfriend's on. Don't jizz all over the place." And I was like, just like,
Silent It's pretty funny uh, impression you did.
that was just and quite frankly, I really like I think it wasn't all bad. I think what really helped me was like I was like I had a paraprofessional by the name of like I think Miles Holman, and he was really into
Yeah.
comic books too. And basically, one like like during lunch or recess, he would essentially kind of like he would bring some of his comic books to school, and
Yeah.
essentially he let me read or borrow them, and it was like it was like this very awesome thing. I got to read like
Yeah.
I got put on like many I got put onto like many cool stuff. I got put onto Marvel Zombies. I got put onto to essentially kind of like Wolverine. I read that really bad I read that really bad like origin story for Logan, where like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
basically it's like it's like his name's not Logan, it's James Howlett. He came from Canadian aristocracy, and his mom, was like it was kind of like that. It was kind of like Wuthering Heights, where it's like his dad was the nice guy, but his mom essentially like just cheated on him with the field hand, and that's how he was actually born. And it just like it's like when I was 13, like or 12 when I read it, I didn't exactly like it was like, oh cool, now I know who Wolverine really is. But then like it's like I kind of when I was older, I was like, wait, really? This dude came from aristocracy? Like the like this
Yeah.
this like ching ching raw like basically the I thought like he was kind of like I thought he was kind of like this primordial force, or like at least like I don't know, like I think possibly maybe like he had like Native American roots. Like
I thought that was part of the story, wasn't it? Or I guess not American, but Canadian.
yeah, but like not like not like like white Canadian, but like Native Canadian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the
Like
indigenous Canadian.
I mean I thought that'd be kind of like like I've seen like a like back when I had TikTok, like some Native American dude was like Wolverine's Wolverine is like Native American, and it's like of course that's like that's like my like nerd my canon like nerd brain was like, oh that's just factually incorrect. But then I thought about it and be like, you know what, god damn it, that'd actually be cooler. that
Yeah, well, that Wolverine origin story is like it's like one of those things where you get a cool character who's got kind of a mysterious backstory, and people want to like flesh out what the mystery is, even though kind of the mystery is the cool part anyway.
yeah
It's like with Boba Fett, it was like, well, did you know his dad was a clone, or his dad was cloned,
yeah
and he's one of the clones? And I'm like, what? Is that even relevant to how cool the character was, though? Is it cool, or he was just a dude that was like there? Um, I don't think him being a clone makes it any better, more interesting than just him looking sick in his armor. I mean, then he like dies really easily too in that movie. So I always wondered why everyone thought he was so cool.
yeah also his dad died too, like it was like it
His
was
yeah, his dad died real fast too. Like it was
like
like they're kind of built up to be these like badasses, and then like they get knocked off real quick. And I was like, they didn't really do too much, and they weren't that cool.
I mean
Um,
that's all like the it's like they just had cool armor and that's it.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had a nice fit, and then they died.
yeah. That's kind of I was always wondering about. I liked them a lot, and I read the Jango Fett comics when that came out, so I was getting into the whole lore of it. But I still kind of think back on it, and I'm like, was it really that cool, or was it just like I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the what was I going to ask you? So how long have you been doing art?
Okay, so Okay, so I've been doing art since the age of 9. Like basically
Hmm.
just like it started off like when I was 7. Basically I kind of knew that essentially it's like when it comes to academics, I'm not the smartest person around, and
Hmm.
I found like I do it, but and to be honest, I found I found most of it, very like repetitive, boring, and it's like like some people like they look at academics like ooh it's a puzzle, and basically it's like, but like in the back of my mind, like, it's like it for me was like it's like I can't wait to go home and watch more of that '90s Spider-Man TV show
Oh
or
yeah,
Spectacular
I
Spider-Man.
remember that. Yeah, that
And
was a good show.
and essentially like when people would ask me like what I wanted to be when I grew up, uh, I would say like oh I'd be like a mechanic or like a computer engineer like my father. But then I think the one thing that kind of mentally stuck was like one time when I said I like being a comic book writer, and I think when my guidance counselor heard that, she basically managed to break. I think she knew. I think Rob stole the comic book inker before he passed away, and
Mm.
basically she got me a print of essentially just like I think an old Spider-Man cover that he did. And
Oh, cool.
when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And still have it somewhere with me, but basically it's like that kind of stuck, and then of course it's like it was really big when I found that. Oh my god, you can draw Spider-Man and get paid for it. Fuck yeah, this is awesome.
Do you did you have any like is your family supportive of you being an artist, or was it like a fight to like do what you're doing, or
I mean, they were mostly supportive. They were
okay.
mostly supportive, but like I think around like I think the 20s, I was like the job market was pretty bad, and so I kind of had to kind of like get like a different like a different job, day job, stuff like that. I'm thinking like
Yeah, yeah, keep going, sorry.
I'm a I work with special ed kids now, and
Oh, nice.
I mean it's all right, once you get past the the kicking and the physical violence that the kids would enact upon you when you would like take them away from say their playtime, or when you try to get them to take a nap. I think one time we had an assembly, and essentially one kid like he couldn't stay still, and he started causing all types of ruckus and trouble, and it
Hmm.
came to a point where like me and the teacher had to basically carry him back, and basically he did that very annoying thing that kids do when basically you try to like get them to walk back and they immediately just go limp, and they like they
Yeah.
just collapse, like and like you have to like deal with their body weight now. And essentially, so
Yeah.
I decided, it's like screw it, why not just carry him? And then basically that's when he started like just going buck wild. He was just hitting my hitting my face with his like tiny little hands. And he started kicking me in the head, and that I'm not gonna lie, that like that kid, the kick that that he gave to my head. That kid has a pretty decent future in MMA, because god
um
damn that hurt.
yeah, when I was at the haunted house, customers would like attack us sometimes, either an accident or because they were, trying to prove something. But I had incidents where like a this like middle school kid just repeatedly started punching me in the face, and I was like having to like hold him down. I was like, "Stop it! Stop hitting me!" I was like, "Dang it!" Um, and then I had like a guy like stiff arm me in the face. I turned the corner to scare him, and he like stuck his hand out and face palmed me basically like directly in my nose. That was more of an accident. The kid swinging on my face was like the kid trying to like be tough or something. I don't know what happened there, but yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I think obviously, it's like people ask me, it's like, hey, how do you like it? And I don't exactly respond. I just stand there and stay silent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no offense to the no offense to the people at the school that I work at, but it's it's like it's obviously not really what I want to do with my life.
What's yeah, I was gonna tell you. So when I was starting out, when I quit the job at the haunted house, basically what happened was, um, I moved out of my, um, I moved out of the house I was staying at with a friend of mine, and I moved back into my parents' house because I was like, well, I'm basically not going to have money coming in because, like, I quit my job, and I had some money saved up, so my plan was go on vacation with my girlfriend to Europe and visit Europe for the first time. And when I came back, I was just going to like work on my portfolio and figure out work somehow. So what I did was I moved back in with my parents, and they're like I'm from like a Mexican family, so they're like they didn't care. They're like, yeah, whatever. Um, they're very supportive, and I basically started studying, and then I did like any odd job I could. So like for about a year or two, I was like teaching art at the Parks and Rec through the Parks and Rec department in Austin. So I was teaching art to like at-risk youth, and then I was not delivering. I was selling pizzas from my car during the lunchtime. So I'd sell pizzas out of my car during lunchtime as part of this like mobile pizza selling service this pizzeria was doing, and then I would teach art, and then I worked at Vans, the shoe store, and I sold shoes. So I was doing like three different jobs at the same time while I was trying to do. So like you know, the weird situation you're in right now, where you're in a job that you're not quite satisfied with. Like I think everyone's been in that situation at some point in their life. If they're pursuing art, like at some point you're in that situation where you're like, this kind of sucks. You're just like, this kind of sucks, but I gotta do it, and I gotta just study and get good so I can like stop doing this thing. Um, but anyway, it's not something that's just you. I think everyone goes through that, and I definitely did.
Yeah,
And yeah, so
yeah. Actually, so when did the concept art thing start to pop off for you?
mm, I left my job in 2012, and I had already been drawing all my life, so it's not like I didn't know how to draw. So that's something I've met lots of concept artists who like they go from like I have no idea how to draw and I want to become a professional concept artist, and that's a pretty intense journey to go from I don't know how to draw whatsoever to like being professional. I had already been drawing, and so I knew how to draw. I just wasn't quite professional level in terms of my quality, and um, so it it was about 2 years of like focused studying, and it was back. Um, Dave and Dan were doing this forum called the Crimson Daggers.
Oh, Dave proposed it, Dan Warren.
Yeah, so they were doing this forum called the Crimson Daggers, and basically I joined that forum, and I was like, I'm just going to do exactly what they did, which was I would stream every day and do studies with other artists online, and I was going to keep doing the streams until I'm professional. And that's what they did. They did it, I could do it. Like once you see someone do it, it's like, oh, if they could do it, there's not like they have a special power.
No,
Like just persistence.
yeah, they shit and fart just like the rest of us.
Uh, yeah. So I was doing like daily streams every morning. I would stream art like for like an hour or two doing studies, and I was applying to all kinds of RPG book companies and trying to get like some work, my foot in the door. And I did a bunch of weird odd jobs. Like I did like a menu design for this restaurant, and then like I did I worked with this one company on a web series, and so I was doing designs for them, but they didn't really pay much. But like I was getting some money in, and I was helping them on this web series. It never went anywhere, but I got kind of paid and I kind of got to know them, but they ended up being kind of weird. Um,
Like how weird?
so I don't, huh? Oh, it's just like they were like they were just kind of like this hippie group where like everyone was kind of like sleeping with each other, and like it was kind of like this little like commune group. Then I was like, once I realized what was going on, I was like, I don't really want to work with you. I was like, I'm just I'm just trying to be an artist. I'm not trying to like join your little group. Um, but um, but that was like some of the stuff I went through, and the main stuff that started was I started getting freelance from some of the board games that I had applied to. Specifically, I went to the boardgamegeek.com forum. It's still around, and like it's basically a forum for people that are like into board games and they want to make board games, and they have an artist section. And I posted my work up on the artist section. I was like, "Hey, I'm an artist. I'm looking to do illustration. Here's some of my work." And this guy messaged me and was like, "Hey, I'm doing a card game. And I need illustrations." So I did like three for him, and that was like my very first job. I did like three illustrations for this guy, and it was nice. He paid me, and I did my illustrations, and he seemed to be happy. So that was my first job. It was really low pay. It wasn't a lot of money. Um, and then I just kept getting little jobs like that, and they were little bitty jobs. And while this was happening, I started going to a sketch group in Austin, and I would go to the sketch group every week on Wednesdays, and I got to know the thing about this sketch group was that all the people in it were like professional artists. So it wasn't just like a casual sketch group. It was like everyone there was like working in the video game industry, and or they were like good enough to work in the video game industry. So I started showing up at the sketch group and getting to know everyone, and that was like a slow thing I did just to like meet more artists. And I was doing this little freelance jobs here and there, and eventually it was like about 2 years of me going to the sketch group. One of the guys in the sketch group was like, "Hey, like I'm on this job and we need help. Like, are you available to help out with this gig?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And he was like, "You got good work, and you seem like you seem like a normal person, so I wanted to bring you in." So I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, like I'll do whatever." And it was like this really simple job where like a different concept artist had designed all the characters, and they just needed somebody to finish painting the characters to make them look product ready. Like they wanted the characters to look like they were 3D characters, but they didn't actually want to make 3D characters. So I had to like paint over someone else's art to make it look like 3D characters. That was the whole job. It was just painting on someone else's stuff. Um, but it was like for this app company, and they just had like a lot of money behind it. And so like I talked to the artist, and I was like, he was like, how much do you want to get paid? And I was like, well, I don't know. I've never done this before. And I was asking, I was like, well, how much are you getting paid? And he was like, this was like a few years ago, not a few years. This is like about 10 years ago. He was like, I'm getting paid like $65 an hour. I think it was something like that, or 70 an hour, something crazy. At the time for me, it was like an insane amount of money. I was like, what? And I was
seventy
like, well,
dollars
can
an hour. That's a
can I
lot.
just say that too? And he was like, yeah. And so I was like, all right. So I was like, yeah, like $75 an hour, and all it was painting and rendering. So it just took hours to paint. Like so I was just like raking in some money for that job, and that was my first like big freelance job that was like, oh, I could like make a living doing this kind of work. If I get more work like this, I could do this for a living. Like it wasn't just like those little bitty jobs that were like $100 here, like $100 there, like um, so that was like that was kind of my first big break in freelance world. But it took like 2 years of me consistently going to the sketch group and getting to know these people, and for them to like kind of trust me as like a person they could like rely on. And then it also took me like 2 years of like making my skills good enough to do the work. Um, and so it all kind of came together as one little thing. And then yeah, so that's kind of where it left off in Austin. And then before uh, my wife is an actress, so we were about to move in together, and we kind of like decided like, well, before we move in together, you know, is it worth it to just move to LA because she's an actress, right? So like LA is like the place for actors. Um, and we decided like, yeah, it'd be worth it to move to LA because she could maybe find some like career opportunities, and I knew that I could probably find work as a concept artist or an illustrator in LA because there's a ton of stuff going on in LA, right? So I was like, well, I could probably find work there. So, if you want to do acting, I could probably find work somehow. And so we decided to move to LA, and we did that. And that was like a big. I never lived outside of Texas before, so like that was like a big move like, for us to do that. And we went to LA, and we met a bunch of people through some connections through like my cousin, and then like my wife started working with these people, and through those people, I met a future boss at this party,
Yeah.
and I happened to have my portfolio on me at the time.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
And
You cut off a bit. Could you repeat
yeah,
that?
yeah, sure. What did you last year?
You met some people. I think you said something about meeting some people.
Yeah, so I we went to a party in LA, and I met my future boss at this party, and I had my portfolio on me at the time, and he hired me for a freelance job, and things worked out pretty well, and then he hired me on full time, and I've been working there ever since. Um,
Nice.
that's kind of how my story goes. But like, well, all of my major success in my careers have been through networking and meeting people through my wife and through connections. A lot of it's been through my wife. Like a lot of the connections she makes. Uh, People don't know any other artists, and then they meet me, and they're like, "Oh, well, we need art," and then like they hire me. So it's kind of been that way for a while. So I always talk to people about it. Like it's good to you got to be good at what you're doing. You got to be like good at art, and then you got to be really good like communicator. That's like the next thing you got to be. It's like you got to either communicate and network, or you got to get hired by a job and be a good communicator, so that way you can sell your ideas. Because like but the whole job of concept art is selling ideas
Hmm.
and like communicating like your vision. And so like if you can't speak clearly or like not clearly but like eloquently and like professionally and provide a lot of context, like that'll you could be a really good artist and never get any ideas through because you're a bad communicator,
Hmm.
or you could be a mediocre artist and get all your ideas through because you're really good at communicating.
Hmm.
So like the communication part really does lots of heavy lifting. As long as you're like base level kind of good at what you do, then the rest of it's like communication.
All right. All right. So, how did for I think illustration
Yeah,
like did you also like is that the same thing for illustration?
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, um, it's illustration is about problem solving. Like you're solving some kind of problem. You're trying to, it's in the name itself. You're trying to illustrate something. So like, um, you're either illustrating on like a theme or a topic, or like with lots of fantasy art, you're illustrating like a very specific storytelling thing. Um, like you're trying to tell this story of like if it's a Magic the Gathering card, you're trying to tell the story of like this power that you're going to be using in the game. So you got to sell this idea, this power through this one illustration. And it might be like life drain. And it'd be like, okay, well, life drain. What can we do that sells the idea of life drain visually? And it'll probably be like a black, a swamp card in Magic. So it'd be like, okay, well, it's going to be like a black card. It's going to be the swamp cards, and then it's going to be like a life drain. So it's probably going to be something to do with like some kind of life force, and maybe like a zombie or something, or like or there's different ways you could break it down. That's like the most obvious thing I just said, but like that's you know, you just got to figure out the story with illustration, and then you basically tell the story, and then um, and then it depends on the kind of illustration job, right? Like if you're doing like a technical illustration, that's a different kind of story you're telling. That's more of like a you're trying to illustrate the function of something.
All right, like, kind of like say one of those IKEA manuals, right?
Yeah, like that's a different kind of illustration entirely. It's still a valid type of illustration, but you're trying to communicate function and how this thing works in as few words as possible because IKEA wants to sell all over the world. They don't want to translate the instructions over and over again. So like how many images can I use that would like make up the words we have to use? And that's why the IKEA instructions are really good because typically you don't need to read anything. You just look at pictures and it says, "Oh, that's how you do it." This is like this thing goes here, and then you screw it in, and this thing goes here, and then you screw that in. Then you got a table.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I think the one I think for career wise, I think I've been a bit all over the place. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe it's because like I admire so many artists. Like for example, it's like high school. I was really into like comic books, but I was also very into like like you said artists like Kim Jung Gi, Dave Raposa, like
Mm-hmm.
and like I would essentially kind of like I was kind of like a bus kid, even like even going into high school, which honestly, miracle of God that I didn't get clowned on that, clowned by being a bus kid. But
What
I
is that? What do you mean by a bus kid?
well, yeah, basically you were about like basically for many years of my life, I think I kind of got to school by bus, like
Mm.
essentially just
I figured that's what you meant, but I wasn't sure if that was like another meaning to it. But yeah,
yeah,
okay.
basically just I think granted it was like I was a kid, basically I was like
Yeah,
I can't like you know third like I was one of the like the younger kids because I was like December, and essentially it's like my parents couldn't trust like a 13-year old a 13-year-old to get to Midtown Manhattan by himself. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, it makes sense. Like I think on the bus I would I would essentially kind of like just look at say artists like Kim Jung Gi or artists like Dave Raposa, and I'll just be like I was like, oh my god, that's so awesome. Like when like when I spend time in computer lab, I would just do nothing but just like ogle at their artwork, like whoa, it's so cool. How do you do that? Like basically, just at that point, it's like it's like I said I wanted to be a comic book artist, but like at the same time, it's like you know I would also experiment and like try my best to like basically digitally paint and like watercolor and paint like I'd I do comics, but I would spend a lot of time experimenting with vastly different mediums, mostly
yeah,
gouache, watercolor, Photoshop, and basically it's kind of come to this point where it's like I want to do I want to do a lot of things, and
yeah,
I have to focus on one thing, and so far I'm focusing on illustration, but it's like you know there are still times where I would especially now like right next to me I have like an absolute Batman cover, like he's
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, like it's not it's like it's Bristol board ink, like done traditionally. Well, not all the way traditionally. I have I would use Procreate and I would basically just like sketch everything in blue line, print it out in my printer, and then just ink over it.
That's a good method. That's a good method.
Yeah, I think like to paint a picture, he's cutting the hand. He's absolute Batman. His bat signal on his chest it's also an axe. It's stupid, but it looks cool, so it doesn't really matter. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, basically he's chopping an he's chopping an ice agent's hand off. So
yeah,
uh, that's something I've been working on. Like I want to do it's multiple things. throughout
Yeah.
like, and that's like something I'm trying to like contend with. Like I understand we all can't be Dave Raposa. Like Dave Raposa was kind of like this. I feel like I don't want to like I don't want to overtly like like praise or glaze Dave because it's like even he'll tell you it's like I'm just a regular guy and it's true, but at the same time it's like it's like what I really admire is that he's like he is willing to kind of like he has the discipline to
Yeah.
do more than one thing like basically
I,
with
I, I think I think so. I guess to comment on that, um, ev- everyone could be Dave Raposa. He's been doing it for 20 years. If you do something for 20 years, you can touch on everything that he's done in the same time. It's just a matter of like, he's got more time under his belt than, like even like by the time I met Dave, I met him at Massive Black in 2013.
you met him.
He had been doing concept art stuff since he was 16, and I was like 24 when I started focusing seriously. So he had already gotten like what, about 10 years on top of me, like, or not about 10. I'm doing the math wrong, but like he'd been doing it since high school, and I'd only started after college, so it's like a whole different situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like everyone I meet that's starting out with concept art or illustration, they all tell me the same thing where I'm like, what are you into? And they're like, well, I like characters and I like environments and I really want to do like this Magic the Gathering covers and I want to do like comics. And I'm like, yeah, those are all like, any one of those could be your career, just doing one thing. So you just got to focus on one thing first and then you branch out slowly. You just start off like, you do want to do illustration, so you do illustration. Great. And illustration encompasses characters and environment. So you're kind of doing two things at once, but it's good. You focus on that. And then like eventually you might want to try making a comic yourself. So then you're like, okay, well I'm going to try comic book storytelling. That's a whole different muscle that you got to like practice. And then you might say, oh, I want to do just concept design. That's a whole different thought process too, where you're just designing characters. Like you're not worrying about anything else but the design.
Mm-hmm.
It's all doable. It's just like after a certain amount of years, you're going to be able to do it all. It's just that most people want to do it all right when they start, and it's like you can't do it all right when you start because it's impossible. Like it's impossible to do everything really, really good at the same time. You know, um, you could work everything up slowly, or you could work one thing up really fast. So that's kind of the most people choose to work one thing up really fast and they branch out. And that's the kind of the easiest path to take. Um, like, like I have a better. I don't actually do much of it, but I have an easier time thinking of like scary monsters because I spent years working at the haunted house and like I don't actually draw a bunch of scary monsters because I've been working at a video game company for a few years now. We're not designing a monster game, um, but like yeah, it's this whole thing. Like I do a lot of stylized work that most people don't see because it's all NDA stuff that I do at work. But I got a lot of practice doing stylized characters, which I never thought I would do.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've actually seen some of your work. I thought like I think there's like most of it's like it's really cool. I think the one thing that I kind of like the most was kind of like I think the image was a bit blurry, but like there's like this one monster. He kind of reminded me of like a kind of reminded me of like those like small those organ those can you are you looking at this at the screen right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I got the stream up.
I think okay basically there are these small microbiomes, and they kind of they look like look like this. They kind of look like this, and like it's the concept design that you made was kind of like it was like that, but like what if what if this like micro like it looked like this, but like on trend.
Hold on, quick. The stream's delayed, so I can't see what you're.
Okay, I can say
Uh, That's weird. Are you still streaming live?
Yeah, I am. What happened?
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. You've got the stream will start shortly popped up. The microbiome, yeah. The ptarmigan, what are they called? Tar.
I'm not sure what they're called, but basically
Like,
it's like microscopic organism, very
yeah,
small,
yeah.
eats dead skin or something, and it's like it looks like this, but like it's like it started taking test and then went to the gym for like I think a year and a half.
Which one are you talking about?
This
What-
one.
Hold on, let me. Do you do you have? I see the drawing you did, but do you have like a? It's in my portfolio.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
Which, hold on, which one? There's a bunch of stuff I put in there.
give me a second. Give
I
me a second.
updated it recently because I was applying to a bunch of um, game companies.
Oh yeah, I think untitled sci-fi project.
Okay, okay. Let me scroll down to that. Oh yeah, yeah. The three-headed guy. It's
Yeah,
like the
you can't.
yeah. He's like this abomination dude, whatever. Yeah, that was for a class I took in L.A.
Yeah, no, that looked insanely cool to me. I mean,
Thanks.
it,
Yeah, I had to look up a bunch of gross stuff because he's photo bashed. So like I drew him, and then I photo bashed textures on top of him to get some of the form changes. Not the form changes, but like the textures. But like there's a bunch of gross real life human anatomy stuff on him, and then I painted over everything. That's how I did that.
oh yeah, like I think I went to a concept art class back when I went to university. I think not
Yeah,
university, but college, and essentially
yeah.
just there. I think there was this guy who basically like he would literally like look up essentially like very rare but very disgusting skin conditions, like essentially
Yeah.
like say for creature design, like there's a skin condition called like I think it's kind of like your skin and it looks like tree bark.
Is it the Harlequin babies?
I I think so, possibly. Like
I looked those up. Is where it looks like the skin's like a birch tree where it's like splintering and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's really disturbing. Um,
yeah. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I think I'm not like I understand doing that. Like I would probably do that too. But like if I'm being honest, like on one of those jobs, I probably lose a couple pounds. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't want to eat
what?
for.
So I do. For me, at the haunted house, I would look up all kinds of terrible stuff to get ideas. Um, because we were making special effects, makeup, and props. So one of my thought processes when I worked at the haunted house was if I could look up something that's very disturbing and it makes me feel kind of gross, if I could recreate that feeling for somebody else, then I'm doing my job right.
Mm.
So I used to look up terrible videos and pictures, and so I'm okay looking up awful things for work, but I do notice, like I've worked with some special effects artists in the past, and I was like, "Hey, do you want me to send you some reference photos for like what I'm thinking?" And they're like, "Do not send me any dead people." They're like, "I do not want to see dead people photos."
It's
And
like
I was like, "All
no.
right, that's fine, that's cool. I just wanted to double check because I wouldn't care if someone sent me those for reference, but like I know certain people are really sensitive to that."
I mean like
Um,
it's
yeah,
strangely enough. I don't know. Like I when I was a kid, I would read Invincible, and that
yeah.
book has so much violence, but if I had to look at like say the Harley Quinn babies like for like more than like 5 minutes, I'd be like, nah, bro, nah, I'm tired, boss.
It's it gets yeah, it is disturbing. I mean, I got desensitized to it. We used to look up weird stuff on our lunch break at the haunted house, so I've got a stronger desensitization um, for pictures and stuff. Obviously, it's different if you see something in real life. I don't know what I would do if I saw certain things in real life that I've never seen that many like disturbing. Thankfully, I've never seen that many disturbing things in real life. So um, I don't know what would happen if that were to. I fainted at the sight of my own blood in the past, where I cut my finger and I fainted. So I can say that I'm not quite like the most hardy person to like withstand the something disturbing in real life. That's different. Well, yeah, who knows?
I, I mean, all right, all right. Wait. So, what was it I asked? Jesus Christ. And you know what? How's England? I was gonna ask something art related, but
Oh,
then I don't know. My brain had a momentary lapse in function.
no worry. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So
if you think of it later, just ask me again. But London's amazing. I love living here. It's very different from. It's different from the U.S. That's kind of an obvious statement. It's not the same, and it's also very different from L.A., which is where I came from. Well, it was where I was living previously. Um, LA is very career focused. Everyone in LA is like worried about succeeding in their passion project. And everyone in LA is like got a passion project, and they all want to succeed as like an actor or a musician or director or like a writer. Everyone's got like this thing, and everyone's really focused in LA on like getting ahead in their profession. So every time you go out in LA and talk with people, they're constantly asking you like, what do you do for a living? And then like you end up talking about work. And lots of times when I was in LA, I would go out to like events with a bunch of actors, and because my wife's an actress or an actor, my wife is an actor, and we go out to events together, and people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm a concept artist and illustrator," and they would just stop talking to me
what?
because because I wasn't a director or a casting director or another actor. Like they couldn't relate to what I was doing, so they just didn't care to talk to me anymore. They would literally talk to my wife, look at me. I would say I'm an illustrator. They would just turn away from me and start keep talking to her instead. And it was like a few times we go out to these events, and I was like, and people don't give a shit what I do. I was like everyone. I was like, I would always just be honest, and I was, I'm super like chill. Um, in Austin, I'm like I guess in Austin I was considered like kind of like an extrovert, or in the art community I feel like I like talking a lot. But in the acting community I'm like an introvert, like compared to like someone else that's an actor. So like when I go out to these acting events, I wouldn't talk a lot because there's not much for me to say. I'm not like going to just randomly talk about whatever, but like compared to like an actor in LA who like all they want to do is like talk and like talk about themselves, and like it's just a different animal being in LA. It's different from anywhere else. It's not the same in New York, and it's not the same in like Austin for sure because I'm from Austin, and everything's more laid back in Austin. Um, and then London is nice because in London you go out to events with your friends, and you don't even know what they do for a living because no one cares. They just want to hang out and like be your friend, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living. They want to hang out with you, and like it's a much different place in that way. So like I really like London a lot, um, and it's got a great food scene, and I'm really big on food. So
Wait,
that's
really?
that's the other.
Wait, really? Tell me more, because so far, like, when it comes like the biggest stereotype about like England is that it's like the food there, it's just like terribly done. It's like
Well, that's a very big stereotype, but you got to think of it like this: London is one of the capitals of the world. Like it's like when you think of like London, you think of New York, and you think of LA, and you think of like Tokyo. Like this one of the world capitals, and any world capital is going to have a huge array of food options. Um, that's basically how it works with every, like in New York, it's like amazing food scene because there's people from all over the world move there. It's the same in London. Everyone from the world moves to London to live in London. So there's all kinds of like what do we have? There's like Somali food, there's Korean food, there's Japanese food, there's some Mexican places out here, which there's one good Mexican place out here, but I normally cook it myself because I'm really picky.
Hmm.
Um, you're Dominican,
Yeah, I'm Dominican. There's some
but
Dominican
so
places.
you would be picky if somebody said this is a Dominican restaurant in London. You'd probably think like, well, let's see about that. You know,
Yeah,
like, that's how
let's
I
see.
feel.
Let's see, like
Like whenever
it's
it's like, oh, there's a taco place, I'm always like,
is your
are they
pata?
really tacos or like,
Are they?
you
Is
know?
it truly pata de vaca? Is it truly like cow feet stew? Like I don't know about that, bud.
Yeah, that like that wouldn't. I mean, I never even heard of that back in where I'm from, and I'm so like, um, the I'm sure there might be some place that's Dominican here. I've been keeping an eye out for all the Mexican restaurants because I'm Hispanic or Latino Mexican. I don't know what words to say. They feel like the terms keep changing, but um, I'm always looking out for like Mexican restaurants and seeing if they're any good. But there's a couple good ones, and then like I just cook my home though. Like I make my own tortillas and stuff, and I invite friends over and I cook for them, and then they get to have some real either
Authentic.
Tex-Mex or I could do like a real Mexican food.
All right, all right, all right, all right. That's nice. That's awesome, actually. Like maybe like tell me more about like London. How's the art scene in London? Like, cause like basically I've met some artists from essentially that area. Like whether it's like in the
Yeah.
Art Students League in New York. There's like this one
Oh,
dude,
cool.
thick British accent. And then there's I met at New York Comic Con Zoe Thorogood. Like we weren't like of course like I'm not really tight with Zoe. Like it's like I met her once, and then that was it. But essentially
Yeah.
like when it comes to say like the art community in London, like
Um, it's good. There's a bunch of life drawing events all over the town. Um, my big resolution for the new year is to go to more life drawing.
hmm,
Um, and I went to a concept art workshop in, I think it was August or no, October. Maybe it was October. I went to a concept art workshop and I met a bunch of artists from around the world. There were some from Spain and some from London, some from other parts of England. And that was my first time going to a local event so I can maybe meet people. Because, like I said, back in Austin, I used to go to a sketch group every Wednesday and I met all the different artists that were at the different studios there. Um, and so I was really connected with the art scene back in Austin. And then in LA, there's just like artists out the wazoo. Like it's like artists are everywhere. And
yeah,
like I lived in Burbank, so like that's like one of the animation hubs. It's like animators are all in Burbank, and then like there's like video game concept artists. Like I met a bunch of friends who are video game concept artists. I know Anthony Jones is one of my
oh,
mentors.
Anthony John Jones.
Yeah, I signed up with his mentorship before I moved out to LA specifically so I could meet artists so I knew them ahead of time before I left. But I was like, if I sign up for this mentorship, I'll A, get great education because it's Anthony Jones giving me his education, and then B, he's out in California, so I'll know people in California that I'll be able to like meet up with. And so that was like two of the reasons I signed up for that mentorship because it was going to directly benefit me to like meet people and then also I get the knowledge. Um, and it worked. Like I met lots of friends through that mentorship, and they were like some of my best art friends um, because I went to that mentorship.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I still keep in touch with AJ, but like he's got so many like people that do the mentorship at this point. He's got like thousands of people, I think, probably hundreds. Um, but yeah, I guess one of the things I always tell people, if you're taking illustration and concept art real seriously,
You can't go
invest in.
a mentorship with AJ.
What was that?
Invest in a mentorship with AJ.
No, no. Well, I mean that I recommend that, but I would say invest in going to a workshop.
Workshop.
Um, yeah, like a workshop where it's a live event where you're going to meet like hundreds of other artists together. Going to workshops has been one of the best things I've ever done for my career, just to meet friends and also like basically like you're kind of meeting colleagues because lots of y'all are doing freelance being the only reason to meet people, obviously, but like that does happen too. Um, like
Yeah,
whenever I get too busy with work, I hire people that I know.
yeah. I'm sorry.
Uh,
I'm sorry about that. Yeah. We're kind of in New York. I'm kind of going through like a massive snowstorm, so I think they might have cut off cut off cut you off a bit. So could you like say what you just said?
yeah, yeah. What I was saying was the number one thing I always tell people who are trying to get into concept art and illustration is to go to a workshop. Invest money in going to a workshop and meeting people because it always benefits you to meet other artists, to watch live demos, to talk to the people that you're looking up to. Um, like it was one of the best things I've ever done was like going to. They don't do them anymore, but I went to the Massive Black workshop in 2013 in L.A. and actually it wasn't L.A. It was technically in Manhattan Beach, which is not anyway. But that's a nitpicky thing. But I went to the concert workshop in L.A. and I met like uh, Wes Burt, Dave Raposa, Dan Warren, Marco Derjovic, Dan Levisi, all these artists that are these names in the industry. They're all just there to hang out and talk and get to know and chat and like that only happens at workshops like that. I think I cut out again. Do you need me to repeat anything?
No, I think I heard you.
Okay, cool. Just, but yeah, if you see any kind of workshops, I highly recommend saving up money and going to one and get a portfolio review. You know, get people to look at your work, give you some honest feedback, and then hang out with people. Like, you know, go out. Like, if everyone's like, we're all going to go out and get drinks afterwards, go out and get drinks. You can go out and like eat food with people and like, you know, bond. It's like a very important for people to do, but also like it's very important for our industry to like get to know people.
Yeah, I think I went to Lightbox recent, not recent. It was last year,
Yeah, yeah,
October.
the Lightbox is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically just I met I met AJ.
Yeah.
I met like a lot of people. I think I met like Sam. I met like a shit ton of people. I think I met Sam. I reconnected with an old high school buddy who's also trying to get into the industry. Like it's
Who's Sam?
Sam does arts.
Sam Desserts?
Yeah,
Is that
he's like a Korean YouTuber guy. He does like
Oh, him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It was like he like I did my best to basically get him to just to get people to just look at my portfolio. Just
Yeah.
just to get as much
I
feedback as I possibly could.
yeah, getting feedback's good and then just straight up like hanging out with people, you know, like when I went to the Massive Black workshop in LA, um I would I would ask when people were going out to get lunch, I'd be like, "Hey, can I join you? You know, like, can I come with you and have lunch with you and like talk to you?" And they were like, everyone was really open. They're like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." Um, you know, that was like, uh, I hung out with Dan Warren for the first time. I had beers with Dave, and like, you know, I met James Zapata. James Zapata is an amazing illustrator.
You mean
And
Steve
oh
Zapata?
no, James Zapata.
Oh, okay.
James Zapata, he does freelance illustration. He's just another Zapata. This is in the industry.
Ah,
Um, I met him. Who else? Darren Bartley. I got to meet Darren Bartley and the Kapinski brothers, Carl Kapinski and Stefan Kapinski.
nice.
Um, I met them both. That was like crazy. And like you know, so it was really fun time, and it's one of the most like valuable experiences I've ever had as like a growing professional. And if they do another one in the future, I'm going to try and go to it just because they're crazy good. But they do Lightbox now. Lightbox is like the equivalent now to what the Master Black Workshop used to be.
Yeah,
Although
yeah,
Lightbox is like insanely huge.
yeah. It was. I think going to Lightbox for me was kind of like one of the better experiences that I had. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, definitely.
I think the one like okay, so basically the one thing like getting there was kind of like a bumpy ride though. Like I think it was like my first time ever just traveling alone. And
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so basically like it's the plane ride from like New York to LA was like it was like it was alright enough, but then like the air pressure got to my ears, and I was like that was a huge thing to get used to. I
You
had
gotta like yawn. You gotta yawn.
yeah yeah no it was I think I don't know I wasn't tired and I couldn't yawn, so I just had to sit with the crushing pressure that
Yeah.
came to my ears, and that's like it wasn't exactly easy for me because it's like I'm on the spectrum, so that that kind of made it a little bit worse, but
Well, I get nervous on flights too, so I understand.
yeah, and also I kind one thing I kind of forgot my badge at home.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah, and then basically in a panic, I basically I bought essentially like a Friday and a Saturday badge. No, not
Yeah.
Saturday and a Sunday badge. But then it turns out it's like I still had the receipt in my phone, and I showed
Yeah.
the one of the front desk people my receipt, and they gave me my 3 day badge.
Yeah.
So that so things kind of worked out, except for the fact that I can't get a refund on the Friday or Saturday badges. So you know,
Yeah. That sucks. But
but hey, still got in all 3 days, and
yeah. Um. Yeah. That event is amazing. And it was cool. They started putting that on when I lived there in LA, so I went to a few of them.
yeah,
Um.
the I think the biggest the event that stuck out the most to me was I think the one by I think Wild Blue Studios, where they kind
Mhm.
of it's basically a co-op that does work for like various companies. I think Riot, I think
Yeah.
people in the like, and I think they 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 had this slide that that kind of like it's like when they compare art as a hobby to art as a career, where it's like
Yeah.
like if you're an artist as a hobby, everything's like pretty fun. It's like taking your it's like being it's like going out fishing, but for fun. But then at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like art as a career. It's like it's like it's like fishing, not like the fun kind of fishing that you did with your uncle as a kid, but like it's like the you're on a boat and it's like you're out at sea and it's raining, it's pouring down hard, and like there's like a risk of death, and
Yeah. You gotta fish. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a really good comparison because it is different from being a hobbyist. Hobbyist artists have the luxury of saying like, "Oh, I don't have any ideas today. I don't know what to draw, so I'm just not going to draw." And like you're like, "Oh, that's really good if you're a hobbyist and you just like you don't feel like drawing because you don't have any ideas." But like you can't. There's just never an excuse as a professional. You have to draw. Um, Even if you're just freelance, you have to draw because you got to like keep your practice up. You can't just not draw.
yeah,
Um, Unless it's like a specific, like if you're going on vacation, it's different. You can go on vacation and maybe not draw for a few days, but it'll still impact you. You'll come back the day, go back to work, and you'll be kind of rusty, because you haven't been drawing in a few days.
yeah.
Um, let me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the restroom. Okay.
All right. I think I'll
Cool.
address the chat.
Great.
All right. So let's see. Finally, I have returned. Finally, I could get in the stream. Welcome, Romanian guy. I am back. I'm the guy who talked about Transformers. Hey, Jacobo, did you miss me? I was always late to the streams, and that's why I didn't come to the streams. Hey, yes, I did. Talking about Transformers was kind of fun. And Rose, I don't think he can answer you right now. Yeah, yeah. But during interviews, I'm a bit focused on our, bit too focused on our guests. So, you know, I'm not exactly in the position to, to answer a lot of questions from chat right now. Not right now, but like. But how's the interview going? Is it good? It's good for me. Having a good time here. All right, so I'm almost done with the Casca here. Had to, you know, raise her arm a bit. Nah, Jesus Christ. I have to take that off. Okay, so basically render out this arm here at the hand, and then
All right.
all right, all right, all right. Yeah, I think yeah, basically it's like there's always there's like it's like always a performance to not a performance. It's always like something that you have to kind of have to do, especially as a job. Like there's no kind of it's 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 I feel like it's something I think I've yet to kind of go through as a person. Like I'm still trying to like break in, and
Yeah.
it's like you know the day that I wake up and like shit I'm probably gonna have to draw today. That's gonna be that's gonna be quite the day. That's not gonna it's like damn it I have to it's like I have to I have to sketch today. It's like I have nothing. I'm all tapped out of ideas. That's gonna be a that's gonna be an interesting day in my career to go through.
I don't, for me, I don't feel like tapped out of ideas so much as um like I work on freelance, right? So like I don't feel tapped out of ideas so much as I'll be like I'm working on freelance for someone else and I don't actually want to be painting this thing. I'm only doing it because I'm getting paid to do it. And like so it'll be hard to kind of get started on like a piece where I'm like okay, like I gotta do this piece now and like I have to do it because I'm contractually obligated to do it. But it might not be the exact thing I really want to work on. It's like I'd rather draw this other thing right now, but I can't. But I kind of just gotta suck it up and do it anyway. And I think that's something that every artist deals with. Um, even the big pros that are out there, you might find them like there's something they work on where they're like, this isn't exactly what I want to do right now, but I kind of have to.
Yeah.
Um, but the faster you get through it, the faster you get to do whatever you want. So
Okay. Okay. Because I think the one issue that I kind of have right now is like speed. Like I'm very slow.
oh
Basically
yeah,
like the thing like this poster that I've been working on. Like I have been like the Berserk poster. This
yeah.
took me like half a year.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, half a year. I feel like But then again, it is a passion project, so I can take half a year. But it's like in the professional world where or I'm contractually obligated to basically like paint something. It's gonna take more. It's they like if I take that much time, it's it's something like it's gonna be kind of an issue.
Well, you're gonna get faster naturally. So like I wouldn't worry too much about that. I've had pieces that I've made like because I work on pieces outside of work. I've had pieces take me like 3 months to do because I only have I find time here and there to do it, and then like it'll be like 3 months of me like noodling at it, and then finally like okay, it took me 3 months to finish this. But that was like years ago. I guess almost 10 years ago. That's how I used to work. And then what happens is, I think it happens for a lot of people is you'll end up getting a job that you can't say no to because like maybe the money is really good or it's just like a dream job, and that dream job or the money involved in that job will be so good that you just have to do the work, and it'll be like you're eventually going to get a job that's going to be either paid so well or your dream job that's going to be so demanding
You
you're going to
promise?
think there's no it was everyone gets one at one point.
All right.
You're gonna you're gonna get it, and you're gonna be like, I don't think I can really do this. And then you're gonna sit down and go, no, I have to do this. And then like you're gonna do more work than you've ever done before, in a short amount of time than you think, and it'll become a regular thing you do. And like the first time you get that job, it'll be like my very first freelance job that was like that. Um, was in back in 2013. I got a freelance job, and they paid me like I got paid more than I used to get paid at my haunted house job, but I needed to do like 32 illustrations in a month. I had to do 32 illustrations in a month for it to make sense money wise. Like if I took longer than a month, then I'd be making less money. But if I could get it all done in a month, I'd technically be making more money than I used to make. So like that kind of told myself I got to get all these illustrations done this month, and I'll be good money wise, and I'll be kind of like moving forward in my career. But 32 illustrations in a month, that's like basically more than one illustration a day, to make it break even. So that was my first job like that, where I had to do that kind of thing. And then, um, and then I started doing work for, later on, I started doing work for the video game company that I work at, and we'll get in these pitch. It used to be we get in these pitch decks, and we'd be like, okay, you got like a week to do the pitch deck, and then I would have to do like a bunch of illustrations within a week to fill out the pitch deck to like look feasible, and that would be kind of like how we used to handle it. And then now, the freelance I'm doing currently, the board game job I told you about. I'm doing a board game job, and they asked me like, do you want to do this job? It's a board game, and they're like, you're going to be the only artist on it. Everything is going to be your work, and it's basically a ton of work. It's like all the kind, tokens and tiles and cards. Everything is me, and they're like, we need like this much done within about a month and a half, and then we need another chunk done in another month and a half, and then another chunk done by the end of that month. And it's like, like 70 assets. And I work full time still. So for me saying yes to that job, it was like, okay, so I'm gonna have to do like 70 illustrations outside of my normal day job. And I have to make it work, because like, A, the money's good. B, I want to work on a board game and say I did the whole board game. Like I think that's a cool thing to say. And then like, B, I gotta just test myself. I guess C, that would be C. I gotta just test myself to see if I can really do it. Like, can I actually pull off this amount of work? And it's been going good so far. My wife helped me schedule everything out so that I know exactly what days I got to finish what. She's really good at being like a producer. So she's helped me schedule things out, and then like I just been following a schedule, and I work full time, and then I've been working on this board game, and everything's been working out fine. Nothing's slipped on either side. Like my day job hasn't slipped, and the board game hasn't slipped, and that's kind of the situation I'm currently in. But like again, I'm telling you this story, and I've been in the video game industry for like 10 years now. So like it's not going to happen right away, but it will happen eventually. You're going to be like pushed professionally, and you're going to have to decide, can I do this amount of work? And you're going to realize how much work you can really do, and it's gonna surprise you how much work you can really do if you focus. And you're going to get faster naturally because of your technique. You're going to be better at painting later. So like knocking out one character is going to take you like maybe a couple hours, 4 hours tops, maybe. Um, like and it'll work out eventually, because you got to paint with confidence when you're painting. You just go in and you make the stroke, and you're like, this is the stroke, this is the paint I'm going to do, and this is like me confidently making this paint. You're not noodling. You're confidently making the stroke because you know exactly how the lighting is supposed to go. Like the lighting has to go this way, so I'm going to paint it this way. And I know that because I've studied so much that I know how lighting works, and like you do shorthand. You basically, you knock out the basics of the lighting, and then that becomes what you do. And then you end up doing some kind of crazy job where you got to do like 40 illustrations in a month or something crazy, and like you deliver. Anyway, it just happens. It happens with everyone, I feel like. There's a story about Massive Black, a story they told where like they got hired to do like a Roman Empire game or something, a gladiator game or something, and they were basically having to produce like something crazy, like 50 concepts a week, I think, or something like that. And it was like, like two or three of them just having to produce 50 designs a week. Like it was like, imagine how many drawings you had to do to be like a finished design done, but end of the week 50. It's a lot of crazy work, but like, it could be done. It's just, if someone can do it, you could do it. That's how I always say. Like, I'm always like, if someone else can do that, then I could do that. That's.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's what I tell myself. I'm always like, if you see some crazy painting piece out there, you're like, well, somebody did it. It's not impossible to do. You can do it. Does that mean that it's easy? I'm not saying it's easy. It's just you can do it. Maybe it might take you a week where it took that artist like 3 days. But, one of the artists I met back in Austin when I was still working at the haunted house, I met this illustrator. He does poster work, and it was before I was taking concept art illustration seriously. And he was working on this poster, and I was like, how long have you been working on this? And he wasn't done yet, and he was like, well, I'm on the 40-hour mark, like as of today, so it's about a full week of work. And like at that time, I had never drawn anything for that long. I was like, you spent all week, Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5, drawing this thing, and you're still not done. You spent all week working on this one image, and you're still. It was insane to me that someone had spent that long on that image like that. Like I had never done that before, and I was like, this nuts. And then like now as an illustrator, that kind of thing happens all the time. If I if you let it, you could always be faster. If you kind of know what you're doing, you can be faster. But it's not unheard of to spend like a week on an illustration. Like you see Dan Warren's streams, he spends like months. Yeah, like it's not crazy. And if that's the style you want to go for, that's the style you want to go for. Can't some people can't help it; they want all the details.
Yeah.
Or the realism. Brad Rigney's work?
Oh yeah, no, I get. Brad Rigney is a concept artist that it's like I am very inspired by. Like I have listened to him and Dave and Dan's talk so
Oh
many
yeah.
times, like just so many times. Like basically just
The
his story and like it's like basically like he for a while was kind of like he the gist of it was like he was studying for a while and he managed to like get into the industry at the age of 30.
yeah.
It's kind of like it was kind of like one of those it's not too late stories.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first saw his Massive Black tutorial, um I was like, you see his work, and back then, uh, it was before he started using photos in his work. He would, you see his work, and they look like photographs or like 3D renders. They look like they were like 3D renders that he made in a computer, and then like you see the Massive Black video, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna block in the shape and just start carving out the form, and then he just sits there and carves it out, and he's not like super fast. He just sits there and does the work, and eventually you get the image done, and at the end of it you get this really sick image. But like it's a lot of just sitting there like yeah, he's got to sit there and like render the shit out of this. He's got to render a completely crazy amount of work. um But that when I first saw his video too, I remember thinking like, okay, like it can be done. You know, like that's my big thing. I always go back to is like if it can be done, you could do it. So that's what I always tell myself.
Hmm. If it can be
Um,
done, you can do it.
yeah, I mean, there's only certain things that like if I'm talking about the world of art. I mean, like in like professional athlete world, that's a whole different thing. Like just that's a whole different animal. It's like, oh, like the fastest man in the world, you can be that. It's like, well, maybe not actually. You probably can't be the fastest man in the world.
I mean, you could run faster than you did like a year ago if you kept on if you kept on training. But I'm not sure if you'll ever kind of get to Usain Bolt's level.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole different animal. But like when it comes to like art, if someone else is doing it, you can do it. It's just a matter of like, do you want to dedicate the time they did, or do you want to be as meticulous as they are? Because lots of times the art looks sick, but you're just like, I've seen plenty of art that I love that I'm like, I would never paint all those scales, like on a dragon or something. I just wouldn't do it. I feel like I'm not interested in hand painting every single detail like that. Like for me, that's just a big no. Like nope. Like there's no way I'm gonna do that. Like maybe once to try it, but like it's not something I like would seek out.
Yeah, I think that, I think you said you met Dave Raposa. Could you tell me more about that, or is that
Yeah. So when I went to the Massive Black Workshop in 2013, it was honestly it was before Lightbox, right? So like
hmm
it was like this insane workshop because all the Massive Black artists were there, and then Marco with Six More Vodka was there, and then like all these Magic the Gathering artists were there. Carla Ortiz was there. This insane amount of the roster for the teachers and the demo people was like insane. It was crazy. Like Dave was going to demo, and then like Anthony Jones was there, and then like everyone that you're like, oh my god, they're big concert artists. They were all there. They're all hanging out there that day because it was in LA, so lots of people. It was easier for them to get there. Um, and what I told myself was, I'm gonna go to this event, and I'm gonna hang out because I've been watching Dan and Dave's videos. At the time, I've been watching them kind of like religiously, because I was part of the Crimson Daggers group, right? That basically they do streams, you watch the streams. That's kind of what I was doing. So I told myself I really want to hang out with Dan and Dave. Like I've been watching the videos for so long, I want to meet them. And then I also told myself, whatever people want to do, like if people want to hang out till 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning getting drinks, I'm gonna say yes to it. Like whatever people like ask me to do, I'm gonna say yes to. So those are a couple things I told myself I was gonna do to begin with, and I was going on my own. Like I didn't know anyone, and my one friend who I asked my friend to go, he'd already kind of known some people there, but he backed out. He was like, I don't have the money to do it, man. And I was like, fuck. He was like my in, to like meet people. But he wasn't going, so I told myself like, I'm investing so much money to go to this event. If I don't make an effort to really meet people, I'm just wasting money. I'm just wasting my time. So I have to be extroverted and like go out and say hi to people and introduce myself and be like pro. I can't just be shy and sitting in the corner. Um, so yeah, those are the things I told myself before I went, and they were like kind of like a checklist of things I wanted to do. I was like, I want to hang out with people, I want to get dinner with people, I want to get drinks with people, I want to meet Dan and Dave and say hi and like at least introduce myself to them because like like their stuff they've been doing had meant so much to me at the time. And I did that. And I started meeting everyone, and like it was an insane event. There was so many good artists there, people I looked up to, and people that I knew about that like I followed, and like it was crazy. And yeah, so my goals were to meet them and say hi and hang out, and I made sure to do that. And obviously, the other thing when you're doing something like that is you can't be like crazy. You can't like you can't be so hyped to meet someone that you become a weird person, because then like they're gonna be like, "Who's this fucking weirdo talking to me?" You got to watch out for that too.
Yeah, I kind of,
Um,
I kind of, you know, I
you there,
what? Oh, yeah, I'm there.
Jacoba?
Sorry about that. Sorry
Oh,
about that. Yeah, I forgot I had this muted. My mom came in and gave me some tea.
oh no,
Yeah,
no,
and
no worries.
yeah,
No,
basically,
what
what?
I was just saying is, when you watch someone on stream like we do, you got to make sure you don't get that parasocial vibe. You don't know them. There's still people you don't know, so you got to like act normal. You can't just be crazy and like too into um, meeting them and stuff. And like once you start realizing everyone you look up to is just like a normal person, then you chill out quite a bit.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm still trying to like, I'm still trying to like get that down, a little bit. I think, okay. So basically, when you when you talked about like how you wanted to, wanted to kind of like, get there and like socialize and meet Dan and Dave and don't just like sit in the corner. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
it kind of reminds me of like that one time I went out dancing with my cousins. Like
yeah,
basically I was very nervous, but it's like on the train I was like, okay, so basically here's what you're not gonna do. Okay, you're not gonna sit in the corner. You're not gonna stand in the corner and watch everyone else have fun and lament how about like get into this like sad, self pitying, incel mindset of how unlovable you are. You gotta get out there, take some at bats, get rejected if you need to. Just it's about socialization, and they're just human beings. It's like don't think about the don't think don't let the years and years of like Disney movies and dumb rom coms that your sister made you watch because it's like you know the to get to your head. It's like they're not like these they're not that these otherworldly creatures. They're human beings, and you're gonna have to
yeah.
it's like it's
You,
a
you,
and it's like it's
yeah,
hard yeah it's kind of hard to like and it was something that it was kind of like a hurdle that I had to get over myself because essentially it's like it's I think I've never really had a girlfriend, and that's something that it's like it's I it's something that it's granted it's like it's common, more common now, but like it's like for years I always kind of felt like it's like wow, is there something like off about me? It's like I feel like there's like something I'm kind of missing when it comes to like being human or like socializing. It's like
yeah,
it's like I don't know, it's like I kind of have this fear where it's like it's like I kind of get to a certain age and nothing's changed, and people think it's like, oh, okay, so what's going on here? Are you okay? Like, are you like what? Yeah, and that's. I feel like it's like going to like workshops and going to workshops and talking to people. It's kind of like it's kind of like not only exposed how isolated I've kind of been, but it's like I still have like some work to do when it comes to socializing.
yeah. I mean, the socializing stuff. I've always been in my life. I've been put in situations where I needed to speak up and do something, or else I wouldn't get what I wanted. Like so, and like when I told you I started working in the haunted house industry, right? So what happened was, um, growing up, my dad used to do a little haunted house in my grandma's porch every year. And when I went to high school, I was in the band. I played trumpet, and one year, um, the football game was on Halloween, and so I couldn't do the little haunted house with my dad the way I used to. Um, that year, and I was really like kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, I'm missing Halloween because I got to be at the stupid football game. And what they did is they threw a party. They threw a party for the band students because they knew we missed Halloween. They're like, "Yeah, we're doing a Halloween party," and I went to the Halloween party, and they were like, "We we're doing a haunted house at the Halloween party. And I remember thinking, oh, that's crazy. I love haunted houses. I do one every year with my dad, my grandma, and my mom. We do a haunted house every year. And so I went to the haunted house at the band party, and it was just terrible. It was like the shittiest thing I'd ever. It was like so stupid. It was like a waste of time, and I was really disappointed. And I was like, man, that sucked. And like, so basically like a week later, um, I went to the band president, and I said, hey, we're doing the Halloween party again next year, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I want to do the haunted house next year. And it was insane because right, it's like a Halloween party for a band. Like it's not that big a deal, but for me it was a huge deal. And I was like, I'm gonna do the Halloween haunted house next year. And they're like, okay. Like they didn't give a shit because it was like in the middle of like a um it was already in the middle of November. They're like, why do you care about this so much? And I was like, I'm doing it. And so I basically that's how I started getting into the haunted houses like more seriously. Is I basically planned it all year long, like this haunted house just for this party. I spent all year planning it, and yeah, and then that led to one thing, led to another, and I ended up joining the professional haunted house after college. Um, but I've always been in situations where like if you don't say something yourself, you're not going to get what you want.
Hmm. Like
And
closed mouths don't
yes,
get fed.
yeah, that's close. Yeah, that's great. That's a great saying there. Closed mouths don't get fed. Like you gotta like if you're gonna go to like Lightbox, you gotta tell yourself, I'm gonna hang out with artists. I'm gonna go meet people and get to know them. And if you're at Lightbox and they say, hey, we're all gonna go get burgers right now, and all these artists are like, maybe they're people you look up to, and they're like, we're all gonna get burgers. You want to come? You say yes, and you go get burgers, and you get to know people, and like you don't just go, I don't really feel like doing it because I'm kind of nervous. Like, you can't be like that.
Hmm.
Um, it'll only benefit you to go with the flow, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, massive black workshop, that 2013 one, Kim Jung Gi was there.
We're really?
um, Yeah, he was there. Like it was a crazy lineup. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It was crazy. He was there and he did demos, and they had this whole sketch game they did with like it was like Marco Derjovic, Wes Burt, Kim Jung Gi, and I think someone I forget who else was there, but they were all doing like live sketching together in the room. It was crazy.
Dude, that's awesome.
But yeah.
I think it's, you know, I actually met Kim Jong Gi once before he passed away. I was,
Oh yeah, it's good.
yeah, I was a teenager. I don't know, maybe I was a college student. I was kind of like making the rounds at Comic Con, basically showing people my portfolio, and
Yeah,
basically he was there, and I was just so nervous to talk to him. Also, he's South Korean. He only speaks Korean,
yeah.
and you know, I didn't know a lick, and basically I just sat there and I just stared at I just stared at him as he was drawing, and when he looked up, I smiled and waved, and that was it. I was just this dumb teenager. I didn't like speak to him once.
Did you get a book from him?
No, 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 I didn't have the money, but I do
Yeah,
have.
yeah. They're a little pricey.
Yeah,
Um,
but I do have one now, and honestly, it was like it is something that that I it is my prized possessions. I do not take it with me, not even to work.
do, do you have does it have a drawing on the cover?
Yeah, it has a drawing on the cover, but like it was like I got it way after Kim's passing. So quite frankly, I think I got a sketch from either I think it's Dong. I think yeah, I got a sketch from Liu Dong. Actually, no, is it Liu Dong?
Okay. Oh, so the other artists are doing the sketches
No, no,
still.
I think it's Dong Ho Kim. Not
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I think, and I also at Lightbox, I had my stuff looked over by I think J.H. Stonehouse.
Oh,
Like
okay.
he was the sweetest guy.
What is your drawing?
Huh? What is
What's your what? Yeah, what's the drawing in the book?
Oh, a lion.
Okay, cool. Who is it? Already said Stonehouse.
Yeah, Stonehouse didn't draw it. Dong Ho Kim did.
No, but who was the artist you met? The
Oh,
Stonehouse guy.
yeah, J.H. Stonehouse. He's a digital painter.
Okay. My book, I got a book from Kim Jung Ji. It's got this like cute girl with like a tiger on her head.
Oh yeah, yeah. He draws those a
She's
lot.
wearing like a she's wearing like a tiger on her head somehow and like goggles, I think. Um but yeah, I was like the person right before me, he drew like a Leonardo the Ninja Turtle. And I was like, "Oh, sick, Ninja Turtle from him." But then I was like, but he got me one of the I like one of the cute girls he drew, so I was like, this is pretty good. Like, I like
Yeah,
this one. This like, I wasn't sure because he does something different each time.
yeah, he does. He does. I think. Uh,
Oh, I know Stonehouse. Yeah, I remember his Kim Young Ji tribute piece.
yeah. Basically, he was like the sweetest guy. Like, basically, to like, I learned a little bit of Korean, just to kind of like to like to to I think uh I only know this one word like hamsamida. Like basically, it means
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
And like it was like it's like these people were like it's like they were like just titans in their field. And honestly, like I've been a huge admirer of like their art. And like I think when it comes to like art, I think like Asian art is kind of like very like it's like very underrated. It's like it's influenced a lot of people. um,
yeah,
and it's at this point like it's like it's and to kind of see these people uh, you know like still out there doing their thing. And like being able and like this and like being able to kind of like be kind enough to like look over my stuff. It was just like a huge honor.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. I got some really amazing portfolio reviews back in 2013 from like Marko Dojovic and then Justin Koro Kaufman and Dave. I got Dave to look at my portfolio because I was
Dude,
like, I really want to get his thoughts on it. And then like,
dude, that is awesome.
I think those are the three. It was Marco, Coro, and Dave. Those are the three I focused on getting because it was like the portfolio review day at the Massive Black Workshop was like that was the entire day. It was like a day of just portfolio reviews, and there was everyone who was demoing offered a review, and the lines were crazy. Like everyone was lining up for all the different artists, So like you got to go to the right person and just like get the portfolio review, and like everyone wanted to get Justin's because he was like the head of the Massive Black studio, and then Marco, and then also they're kind of famous for giving these really harsh reviews, and everyone kind of wants one. It's kind of this weird like masochistic thing they wanted.
Well,
Everyone was like, I want the really harsh review from Justin and Marco.
yeah, I'm honestly like same thing. I don't know. It's I feel like if it's like I don't know. Maybe it is a sadomasochistic impulse to like basically just get shat on. But I think it's like I think there's like a bit of a brutal honesty where it's like they can basically point out your biggest flaw, and you
Yeah,
essentially have no choice but to kind of like see your biggest flaw. And it's like just now like it's like you have to kind of work on that. And if you work on that, it's like that's easy money. You're kind of like you're already on the way to being better than you were yesterday.
yeah. The my big takeaway is that like you can people want honest feedback, and if you're ever giving honest feedback, there's a way to be honest and not an asshole. It's
Yeah,
like you can be honest and kind of like direct, but like you don't have to like make fun of somebody.
yeah. Not
And
everyone.
like yeah,
Not everyone has to be J.K. Simmons from Whiplash.
yeah. So like I remember when I had a Spider-Man painting in my portfolio, and I went up to Justin, and he opened up he opened up my portfolio and looked at Spider-Man and just said, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, completely boring Spider-Man.
Damn.
That was all he said. That was there was nothing else to it. And then I was like, okay. Um, I was like, so I just drew a really boring image. So I get it now. Um, but I still think it was funny. But in terms of like how much direct feedback was helping me, it was direct, but like I feel like a more positive review I had was like when I went to Dave and I showed him the same thing, right? And then like he was like, you drew Spider Man, but like you just drew him like staring. You just drew Spider Man. He was like,
It's just
everyone draws Spider Man. You got to draw Spider Man doing something insane and crazy. Like otherwise, what's special about your Spider Man? And like so that was more of like a real like substantial feedback where I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like all the X Men. Everyone wants to draw Captain America. But like, why is yours special? What makes yours stand out?
mm.
So I think about that all the time.
One of the biggest one of the
So
biggest
when
things
you when you
one of the biggest things about like essentially just fan art is that essentially people like they draw the character, but it's like they kind of they it's just the character. They don't know exactly. They don't put any mind to storytelling or composition. That's kind of like how I would do it. I have to kind of like switch it up. You can't just draw Spider Man or Goku just standing there. But yeah, what am I what were you gonna
yeah.
say?
So when are you planning to finish this illustration you're currently on?
Uh, hopefully before hopefully before the end of February. I was planning on like basically putting
Okay,
this in
so
my
you got a deadline in mind.
yeah. Basically, I was planning on like say just finishing this, putting this in my ArtStation for portfolio, and then basically sending the portfolio over to like some hiring or an art director on LinkedIn, or hire like just hiring director on LinkedIn or like an art director on LinkedIn, just and just basically just show them the work that I've done so far, have their feedback, and then make more work, and then basically kind of like make more work that kind of like adds on their feedback, but kind of like improving and like trying to like be cognizant of what they said, and then send it,
Yeah.
and then like it's like that way like you can show them that it's like hey I'm I'm very like I can I'm very open to criticism. I can be flexible. I can I can be professional about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Can you is that do you could you yeah, is that your image on the screen right now on the stream? Just the full
yeah,
image?
yeah. That's the full image. Basically, just it's. I'm gonna be honest. Compositionally, it started off as I started off with a. It started off as a sketch. Basically, I did a portrait of Guts. Basically, him just looking menacing, and then basically I put it. I was like I was in love with this drawing so much that I put it in a new file, and then quickly it morphed into this. It morphed into this like entire project where it's like it's like oh it's like I could maybe it doesn't have to be just Guts. It could just be Guts and Skull Knight. But then it's like, oh wait, wouldn't it be cool if I had, you know, Griffith over here and then Casca over here to kind of like it's like a duality thing. And then oh Zod, that'd be pretty. And then basically like before I could say anything, I was like, yeah, it's before I could say anything, you know, it just became like this entire like Dave Raposa esque poster, and then, like, that I've been working on for like the past for like almost half a year now.
So you want to finish it at the end of February.
Yeah, February, the end of February. Just get this thing out the way, so I can essentially like work on another piece, work on another thumbnail, and just like try to have some more progress in my portfolio.
It looks good. It looks really close to being finished. What more do you need to do?
Okay, so basically I need to render out Casca. I need to render out I think Zod, and
Which one is Zod?
oh, the giant minotaur looking guy.
Okay. Okay. So you got to do two characters. You got to render them out. And do you how's your time look like? Your day to day time? Like how much time during the day can you devote to this?
Okay, so basically, I can devote like a okay, so I I'm a paraprofessional, so I work from like eight from like 8 to 2:50. Then
Mm-hmm.
by that point when I get home, I'm a bit wiped out. I'm a bit exhausted, so I kind of just I wipe out for like the next 2 hours. I go unconscious for the next 2 hours, and then
You go? You mean you sleep?
yeah, I take a nap, and then
Okay. Okay.
basically I wake up, I go to the gym because it's like a you know I it sounds corny, but I did make a New Year's resolution, and I didn't want to be one of those people that it's like, hey, next this year I'm gonna get in shape, and then basically go to the
Yeah.
gym for one day and then fall off immediately. I've been going
Yeah.
to the gym for like I think about a month,
Oh, good.
and so that takes up couple hours, which
A couple hours.
I think yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the workouts. Like I think I don't know for most of the month I've been doing these isolation exercises, and
Okay.
I've been I think I'm just gonna stick to compound movements because they're faster. But yeah, no, I think by the time I get here, by the time I get back to my room, I stream. So basically I turn on Streamlabs and I do this, and then I
How long do you spend doing this?
around like I think 2 hours at the most. I think I
So you
stop at
got
12.
2 hours, 2 hours of straight work that you do every Monday through Friday.
Yeah, every Monday through Friday, and then weekends. That I'm not at work, so I do mostly this.
You're doing, yeah. So you're doing like what is that? That's 5 to 10 hours. 10 hours of work during the week, and then weekends are special depending on what you're doing.
Hmm.
I mean, 10 hours is a lot of time. I feel like you could probably knock out. Um, you can probably if you focus on, like I said, painting with some like confident strokes. Like here's what I say: if you're painting like a hand and it's taking you more than like 1 hour to paint a hand, I think you just need to pull up a reference and
Hmm.
just reference the hand and get it over with. And because the hand in your whole composition, one person's hand is such a small part of the entire image that you're doing. Um, Pulling up a nice reference for yourself will expedite what you need it to do, and it teaches you something. It's like you're basically studying and doing the illustration at the same time.
Hmm.
You're practicing from reference. You're like, okay, I'm doing a hand study in real time as I complete this image, and so you're going to retain all that information, which is really good.
Hmm.
um, I think you could probably, like, with 10 hours. 10 hours is a long time. Like, you could probably finish this in a week, I'd say.
Okay.
That's what I think, because like it looks super done. Like it looks like, let me just say, it looks super done, looks super finished. You might have feedback, or like there's some anatomy stuff you could probably fix,
Hmm.
but as like a first pass to say you're done, I think you could probably knock it out in a week. And then maybe if you really want to fine tune it, you can revisit it and fine tune it, or you can move on to the next piece and just keep going.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna just keep going.
It's the one of the best suggestions is to do as many pieces as you can, because you're going to keep progressing forward with each new piece.
Hmm.
You don't want to perfect one piece, because one piece is such a small part of your career. You're going to do hundreds of pieces, you're going to do thousands of pieces. So you don't want to sit there and make this the perfect piece. Move on to as many pieces as you can, especially early on. Each new piece is a new learning experience.
Hmm.
You probably knock this out in a week, I'd say. I think you probably knock it out in a week, because it's already January 25th. So you could probably knock it out and finish it in the week, and then move on to a new piece after that. So you could probably get this done before February starts, and then move on to a new piece, and then just plan out your piece properly. Because February starts next Sunday.
Yeah.
You got like a whole week.
Okay.
I bet you could do it in a week, because it looks so finished already. Like if you had like missing characters, I might be like maybe you need an extra time, but like you've got so much done. Like you're kind of just finishing the hands, and then like what do you got to do on the Minotaur guy?
Okay, so I think I also have to finish the hand.
Of the Minotaur?
Yeah, the basically he's yeah the this guy like the hand is the paw behind Griffith's hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're using reference for this stuff?
Uh, well, I can't really find like a in for the fur. Yeah, yeah. I think I've used reference for guts. I've used reference for the Shirka. I've used
Yeah.
reference for Casca. For the Minotaur guy. No, Jesus Christ. I know his name. Zod. For Zod, I've had to basically wing it. I've had to basically look at fur to kind of get the
Hmm.
rendering right. Still not
Yeah.
really there, but hey, it's you see he has fur. He's hairy, so that's the
Yeah.
best I can do. For Griffith, I've had to use like a reference, but he reference was kind of hard to find for him because like there's basically like a you know he there were like lots of toys and statues of him, but like they were like in a specific type of lighting. And for Skull Knight, reference, yeah, of course it was very easy. There's like busts of dramatic lighting that are like from like top down, and it was yeah. I've used reference for I can't think most of this. I think the
Good. Good.
I think the challenging part was I think for me was Casca. Uh, I I I'm not sure if they're still here, but I do have you know earlier drafts of Casca done, and quite frankly, I just for a while I just was not satisfied with how they turned out. I mean, I think I can like
You're mentioning that you reference them
oh yeah
via like figurines, right?
okay, so basically for I've referenced uh them guts, not a figurine. I've used actual like people reference for
Okay.
her. I think same thing
Okay.
for her, actual people. These two, Zod, no, no, not Zod, King Geiseric, Skull Knight, and Griffith over here. That was that was like figurines. Yeah,
I'd say and you're painting the hands of Casca, is that her name?
yeah.
Casca?
Casca. I'm painting the hands of Casca right here. Uh, I'm also trying to like get nail down the drapery.
Yeah. The hands, you almost can't see the hands, right?
Yeah, their hands are like right here. Well, oh,
Oh,
in the poster. Yeah,
yeah, on the poster.
you almost can't see the hands. Basically, though I think you can't see one over here. I think I wanted to kind of like I was what I was trying to go for was kind of like the like Casca and like and like their and like the corrupted child that she has. Like
Yeah.
basically, I was trying to go for a little bit of like a like like Jesus and Mary symbolism.
Yeah.
But
Um I would my advice to you,
hmm
like if you and I were working at a studio together and you were doing the poster and I was like your art director,
hmm
my advice to you would be like, it looks like you're painting both of your hands, but you don't even see your left hand in the image, right?
yeah, yeah,
Don't don't paint stuff you're not going to see, because you're just burning time. You're just eating time up. Like if the final image doesn't call for her hand to be shown, like her left hand, if you can't see it at all, just don't paint it. Like why are you painting it? Because you're not going to see it.
Hmm.
Um, like think of it really like you got to think of it kind of like a business. You're like time is money, so you're spending all this time painting your left hand, but you're not even going to see your left hand. So you're literally painting this thing that's going to be cut out, that's never going to be seen, and you're just burning time up. And your time is precious right now. Like instead of burning time on her left hand, you should finish up her right hand because you'll see that. Maybe you'll see part of her left hand, maybe a little bit of the fingers, and then the hand for that Zod, or what's his name?
The hand for, yeah, Zod.
Like it's hard to see that hand too. So paint what you can, finish it out, but you're not really gonna. He's kind of behind the other guy, Griffith, right?
Yeah, Griffith, Femto, yes.
So you're gonna, I would say don't paint paint your composition from the main composition. Don't paint them separately and throw them in later.
Hmm.
Unless you're completely not satisfied in the composition, you're gonna try and noodle around and move them and stuff.
Yeah.
That's different. If you're trying to move them around later, maybe you got to paint the hands, but don't waste your time painting. Like, don't paint the feet if you're never gonna see the feet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
But it looks like you're really close to being done, though. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it looks super close, man. Like I feel like you can knock it out in like you could probably knock it out in another week and before February and get it over with and move on.
All right.
Because it looks super finished.
All right. All right. All
It
right.
looks good. It looks good. But
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, it looks so close to being done. I don't think you need to spend another month on it.
Yeah. 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 You know, I think, yeah, that should be the goal. Just like just finish it, get it out the way.
You give yourself like mini deadlines when you do a piece like this, like it's a bunch of characters, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters plus the baby, so that's technically 7. So like you try and time it out. Maybe like you'll spend one day on each character. Okay, that's one day of work is 8 hours. So you're gonna spend 8 hours the first character, 8 hours with the second character, 8 hours on the third character, 8 hours fourth, fifth, sixth. So that's 6 days of work, maybe 7 days of work. That's about a week of work to get this whole image done.
Hmm.
If you spend one full day working on the character, now I know you're not working in a full day. You're working only 2 hours a day, right? Because you're doing it afterwards. So your full day of work is going to stretch across a couple weeks. But like, if you just devote only a day of work to each of the characters, you're going to get stuff done faster.
Okay.
Because you think of it like that. Break it up like a. And eventually, you're going to get so fast that you're probably going to spend maybe 4 hours on a character. You're going to be like, I'm only going to spend half a day doing Guts, half a day doing Griffith, half a day doing the Skull Knight, and you'll probably be able to knock it out really quickly. And like that, you're going to get faster eventually. But what I'm saying is that break it up in like in work days. Work days, 8 hours a day, maybe 10 hours if you're feeling frisky. But
All right. All right.
but yeah, I think you can knock it out faster. And then because you're starting out, right? So like if you're struggling, if you're painting and you're like, man, I can't figure out this hand, just the moment you're like, I can't figure out this hand, stop everything you're doing, take a reference photo, and then finish what you're doing. As soon as you run into a roadblock, that's when you gotta just like find another solution. You'd be like, okay, I can't figure out the shoulders. Take a picture of yourself with a blanket around your neck, so it's like a cape, and draw yourself in, like, not draw yourself, but like use yourself as reference for like the shoulders with the cape. Or like let's say you're trying to reference Griffith with the hand pointing out like that. Take a picture of yourself with your hand outstretched with the right lighting, and take a picture, with your phone timer, and maybe get a tripod for yourself if you don't, if you, or get someone else to take it for you.
Mhm.
But or it would not, what I normally do is take a picture of my wife because I could take the picture of her and I could ask her to pose how I want her to. Um, and then whenever my wife's not available, I have a there's a posing app on my iPad. You can get it for your phone too. It's called Magic Poser, and it's basically a 3D character you can pose and light, and you can get reference.
Okay, magic poser.
Magic Pose. Do you have like an iPhone or a?
Yeah, I don't. I have a Samsung, but I do have an iPad.
Oh, your iPad. Okay, Magic Poser and iPad. It's like I think it's like $10 or something. I don't know. Um, you can make a little scene and you can pose the character and it's got preset poses and you can move the camera and you can add the lighting and it's instantly like a little figurine you could pose for yourself and have reference. Like, I use that whenever like I need really specific poses and lighting. It's not the best, right? Because it's not an actual person, but like it gets the job done.
All right. Okay.
But my big advice to you is just like the moment you run into a roadblock, you got to think of it like you're working for a company. So like you run into a roadblock. Let's say that who's the witch character in this picture with the green hair?
Oh, Shirka.
Kirka. Like that's a pretty hard angle to draw. That like upward angle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were having trouble drawing that. The moment you hit the wall, you're like, oh man, I can't get the nose right. Stop everything you're doing, take a reference photo, then finish what you're doing because you gotta just get it done. And so you got to think about it like time is money. So I got to get the time. I got to save time and just get it done. Using the reference is basically like doing a study. So you're using the reference in your image. You're learning a little bit, and you're going to take that with you later on. And you're going to keep moving forward with that. But anyway, you eventually you won't need as much reference. You do reference now, but eventually you're gonna have less and less reference you need. And you're gonna be fast and like you're gonna be able to knock shit out real quick. And there's certain lighting setups that I know by heart because I've done them so many times. I'm like, okay, I just know how to do that lighting setup. And then like you'll see people like Anthony Jones, they knock out stuff super fast, but you'll notice that he'll use like a similar lighting setup for all of his concepts. Like he has like a default like ambient lighting with some side lights. He always does that, and it's like a real easy way to sell an idea. And then like Dave has done certain lighting setups so much that he just knows like an underlit face to make something look spooky. He knows that lighting already because he's done it so many times. You're gonna get that way too. It's just a matter of time, but you gotta like um, knock out as many images as you can because the more images you knock out in a year, the more progress you're gonna have.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. The more images I do, the more progress I'll have.
Let's say you do one image a month. Every month you do one new illustration every month. That's 12 new illustrations. That's a whole new portfolio every year. That's a pretty good little stretch. And then like maybe you're getting faster. You can do 2 images per month. Then that's like, double the amount of work. Like eventually you'll get to the point where you're doing like you're just knocking stuff out because you don't need to spend as much time, you know. But you push yourself to do more. Like I said, the faster you start pushing yourself to do more, the faster you're gonna learn. Um, and if you don't make yourself do it now, something will happen in the future. Will make you do it later.
Hmm.
Like I said, you might get a job in the future where it's like, hey, we need 50 images. We're gonna pay you $10,000, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, I want $10,000, and then you're gonna make yourself do 50 images because you you want a lot of money.
You
Like
want that.
it's
You want
gonna
that.
happen like that.
You want that sweet, sweet cash so bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and it's probably gonna be a fun project too. It might be like, hey, we're doing like a sci-fi game, and we need 50 different aliens, by the end of the month. And you'd be like, oh shit, 50 aliens. And they'll be like, yeah, we could pay you $8,000 for the month of work. You'd be like, oh, I'll do 50 aliens in a month, for that much money. And, you'd be excited and you'll do it real quick. And after a while, that's what you're doing every month. And
Hmm.
you're like, yeah, I could always do 50 aliens. It's crazy. I'm so good at aliens, or whatever you want to work on.
All right, all right, all right.
But
Yeah.
I think you can work on it faster. I think you can do it.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so basically, one challenge that I'm gonna do for myself is basically finish this by the end of the week.
Yeah, I think you could do it. Like I said, it's not. From what I see, you gotta do the right hand of the Casca name, whatever.
Casca, yeah.
You got Casca's right hand, maybe a little bit of a torso, and then you got the that Minotaur thing. You got its hand. You gotta just finish up, and then that'll be done, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. I mean, you can't spend all week on just two hands. Like that's I think you can knock it out pretty fast.
All right, all right,
Like if I said, "Hey, do a hand study tonight," you could probably paint like one or two hands in the evening if you're just doing a hand study. Like if you're just looking at a photo of a hand, painting it.
all right.
So if you could do two hands from a study, you could probably do two hands in a week really quickly. You know,
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
I think that's how it works. That's how it works for me. Like anyway, but it looks pretty good. Did you have any more questions for me? I'm just working on stuff, so I'm free to chat. So just let me know.
All right.
I'm doing freelance right now, so my wife's not. She's out playing D&D, so she's not. No one's home besides my dog.
All right, all right. So what was your big? Okay, so basically, out of all the companies that you worked for, what was the one that you liked the most?
Um, the one that I like the most is probably it's probably the current one I'm working with. There's a company called Modifius. They do RPG books, and I'm working with them on a board game right now. And the art director is really nice, and they seem to love my work, which is nice. And I I'm getting work done for them. They're happy with my work. I'm happy working with them. I can knock out the work on the schedule they agreed to, that I agreed to, and I'm getting paid a decent amount of money for it. So like everything is ticking the box for me.
Nice, nice.
Um, I have fun working with them, and they call me in for projects based on the style that I can do, and then like I said, and they're not like paying peanuts. So like it's actually I could actually like, make a living off of working with them.
Hmm. All right, all right. Shit. Hmm. So, uh, hmm. How did you come to know Dan? Like, I think you are you're. It's safe to say that you're friends with Dan, right?
Yeah, we're we're kind of like art friends, I guess. Like I met him at the Massive Black workshop I told you about.
Yeah.
I made a point to say hi to him, and I hung out with him. He bought a bunch of pizzas for people one night, and I just chatted with him as much as I could. And then I met up with him at a in 2020. I went to PAX East, and Dan showed up to hang out, and I hung out with him again in PAX East. That was in 2020. And I just kept up with him online, Instagram, saying hi, and I go to his streams and say hello, and it's real casual. I mean, we don't, if we were closer to each other, I'd get to know him better. But I only kind of I know him from just interacting online and then meeting him a couple times at the workshops.
Hmm.
But I think he and I have a lot in common. He loves cooking. I love cooking.
Yeah, no,
So I feel like,
I,
yeah,
I, I hear about it. Basically, like I think he would kind of like invite people, like he would like invite people up to like his house in Massachusetts, I
yeah,
think, or like and basically like he would like he would like cook these like very like decent like great meal. I've yet to. I mean, I think he invited me once, which then honestly like now that I think about it, it's like kind of sad that I didn't go, but I'd love to go and
yeah,
like try the cooking out for myself.
yeah. Like back in LA, I used to do these rooftop hangouts at my old place, and I would invite random friends. I'd be like, we're doing cocktails and snacks on the roof. Do you want to come by and hang out? And they would all come by, and I was like, I'll provide all the drinks, so you don't need to bring anything. Maybe bring wine or something if you want, but like I'll make cocktails for everyone. And we used to have like different artists come over and hang out. And it's just hanging out, So like, I think one of the things you got to remember when you do meet a bunch of artists, out in the world. You've done this at Lightbox, obviously, so you're not new to this, but like it's good to get to know people like outside of what they do art wise. Like Dan likes to cook. Maybe talk about cooking because you help your mom cook stuff, right?
Yeah, basically there are many occasions where I've had to basically make rice. There are many occasions where I basically had to make tostones, like basically do you know tostones?
No, no.
Basically, okay, so what you do is you take a plantain, you basically peel the plantain, you dice
Yeah,
it into basically into separate pieces, not too thick, not too thin. Then you basically this have this like it's kind of like what do you call the stuff that they put in in like in McDonald's basically you have like a place where like they make the fries and it's just
yeah.
like what's that called?
The grease, the oil.
Oil, yeah, oil.
No, I don't want to call it grease. Grease sounds a certain way. Um, yeah, it's like hey, you put the grease. It's like grease. I don't know about that. Um,
Frying oil.
yeah,
You fry
frying it.
them.
Yeah, you fry them, then you take them out, you flatten them because the frying oil kind of like softens them up a bit, and then
Yeah,
you put it back, and then basically when they're floating off the frying oil, that means they're ready. You take them out, and basically you basically pat them dry, to get rid
yeah.
of excess oil. You put some salt on it, and then you eat it, and it's really good. Never
It's just
eaten
like
one.
a fried, flattened plantain.
Yeah, fried flattened plantain with that's lightly salted. It's delicious, quite frankly. It's yeah.
Nice.
I mean, the reason why I don't eat it every day is because like my dad, like my family has a history with the diabetes, and
Yeah,
basically my grandma from my mom's side had to have a surgery where basically they would they would like they would like I don't know shorten like basically like it was a surgery that I think Dan had, or like they kind of like operate and they like cut off parts of your stomach and they shorten it so that you wouldn't eat as much food. I'm not sure what that.
oh, that. Yeah, yeah, that. Yeah.
And my grandpa from my dad's side, I never got to meet him because he died from diabetes before I was born. So you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
yeah,
But that sounds good though. The food sounds really good.
yeah, it does. I can see why. I can see why I can see why my grandpa passed. If I was in his shoes, that I'd die too. Um,
If I was in his shoes, I'd die too.
yeah, it's just like I can just imagine like just like Christmas Carol. I'm just I'm just sleeping in the bed, and then the ghost of like Christmas future just shows up, and it's like shows me a grave. This is what's gonna happen to you if you keep on going with your dietary choices. And then basically I look at the grave, and then I look
Yeah.
at my food, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, I accept it.
What, can I ask how old are you?
I'm 26. I'm 26.
Oh, okay, 26. So you're around the age that I started with when I started taking things seriously. I think
Yeah.
I was 24.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You'll you'll
Like,
you'll work it out. You just got to keep going. And that's the one. Okay, so when I went to Master Black, it was like the second. It was like basically the first year that I started. Um, and what you'll notice is that like what I noticed is that I went there and I kept talking to artists, and then one thing they told me was like, just keep going, and like it's gonna work out for you. And it was kind of annoying to hear that because there was no specific advice. Um, but
It's not like it's like it's not like like Dark Souls. It's like how do I beat Gwyn, Lord of Cinder? It's like just keep going. It's like but like what game mechanics do I take advantage of to get that easy dub? It's like no, you're gonna have to grind it out.
yeah, I mean, it is kind of like that. I mean, you can be smart about grinding and you can be dumb about grinding. There is a difference between you know, um, like I was telling you, you should produce more work. Try and do more work right now.
Hmm.
Don't just sit on like one piece for half a year because you're grinding too much. That's like you're trying to like polish the stone perfectly when you need to learn the basics. You got to keep going. Um, but but you just don't stop. You're gonna get there. It's not gonna be like a um, there's always going to be people wanting illustration from from actual humans. You shouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of glad you kind of brought that up with like the whole AI thing. I think it's basically it's it's like it's kind of like I feel like my journey with AI has been like it's kind of like it's like it's a bit demystifying. Like as a kid, it's like I grew up on like sci-fi and like these sci-fi documentaries, and like basically
Yeah,
they have like these computer scientists hyping up like AI and its potential to basically make the world a better place. And like and you think like, oh my God, like everything is gonna change so fast, and then basically, it's then it's like you hear about AI being like, it's like, oh my God, it'll like help us, like, help us with space travel. It'll cure cancer. And then next thing you know, you're like years later, you see just like an AI cat video of of like say like a fat cat woman, you know, and like basically her cat husband left her for the cat secretary, and and as like the music goes, it's just basically like meow 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 meow, and it's like
yeah.
this is it, and it's like
Um,
you hear these like about like this AI bubble and these like billion-dollar tech companies like just investing so much money in this technology, which is still nascent, and they're making like zero money off of it, and it's like Jesus Christ.
yeah. Let me. Are you still going to be on for a little bit?
And probably.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab a drink.
All right, all right, all right. I'm running out of questions. I need to think of some. Broken Blade, you have some questions? Rose, any questions? You have an actual professional in this in this chat room, in this stream. This is like an opportunity to kind of like ask for advice. This is your golden opportunity. This is your chance. Come on. make some myself. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey. All right. Maybe I should put on some music. You know what? Nah, I feel like that. I feel like we're in the middle. We're in the midst of a giant snowstorm, and internet's already so fragile. Quite frankly, with the fact that I went through 2 hours of streaming with no major interruptions. It's honestly a miracle of God. All right.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back.
I'm wind up.
Nice, nice. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, 7:40 here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, the time zones.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Uh. Let me know if you got any more. Sorry. Hold on a quick. My wife could be home. Hello. There you go. All right. Let me. Okay, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
I'm actually gonna have to go because I need to get dinner ready. My wife just got home.
Oh, the missus?
Yes, yes. But I'd love to talk to you again. So let me know next time you want to chat. Okay?
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. It's been nice having you on, man.
Yeah, yeah. Let's chat again. Let me know the next time you're free, and we could jump on, and I'll just do some work. You do some work, and get chatting. But we wrap that piece up before next week.
Okay, okay, I will. I will.
Cool. All right. Thanks for chatting with me. It's been really great.
All right, no, thanks for coming on. Sorry for putting this off like for a while. I think when I got my like new job, things were kind of very hectic. It's like it was like I still had to go to like my part time job. But by the way, it's like in New York, like my job was like at like it's at 96th Street in the middle of Manhattan,
Mm,
and like my
yeah.
new job is like no, my old job was like all the way in Riverdale, so I had to kind of like travel to two places, and it was a lot. But yeah, no, it was great having you on.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Let me know. I mean, no worries. I was really busy earlier anyway. My in-laws were in town for about a month, so like I was too busy to do anything. And then but yeah, let me know if you want to chat again. I'm just gonna be doing freelance, going forward. So just let me know, and I should be able to do weekends. But yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, man.
All right, see ya.
See you. All right. That was That was Miguel Coronado. I think maybe stick around for just a while longer. And then I'm gonna go have some food. All right. Probably leave by 2:50. Before I do so, actually, how about maybe like 3. How about something? Uh, mm, no. No. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is primo content. Just watching me fumble around. Nah, not my tempo. All right. How about this? Better. I think I asked you this before, but are you gonna sell this as a print? Probably. Probably. I mean, you know, it's probably do pretty well at given conventions. I'm not gonna lie to you. I finished this up in a week. I put in some filters. You know, give it that old school poster feel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this could do like pretty decent at conventions. Yeah. Maybe I can also like make like a web store or something. Like, hey, if you like this, if you're really into the stuff that I make, you know, here's the website. You can buy this. I could send you a print, and you can put this on your wall. Show it to your buddies. All right. In this project, I was really proud of Casca. Like, really. Because, like, the first one that I made, like, you can see the difference. You can see the difference, dude. It is. The first one, the first thing that came around, nah, you know. Yeah, there's an obvious difference. All right, I think for the next 12 minutes, I'm just gonna do some sketches. All right. I'm not sure who I'm going to have on next. I don't know. Maybe I am going to the mentorship that Anthony Chong Jung or AJ is, you know, is putting on March. Maybe I can have him on. That'd be super awesome. You know, closed mouths don't get fed. Might as well. All right. All right. Closed mouths don't get fed. All right. Okay. So. Hmm. Not feeling this one though. Screw it, ball. It's a sketch, who cares? Man. Nah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta fold. Alright. Let's just start off with something more simple. Alright, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Alright. And no one is the one, they say. La, 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 la. Oh, where's the one? Does it do? My voice is a bit low. Hold on, let me check the Streamlabs option and okay, I think maybe it's just him talking. So maybe it's the way I'm talking. Okay, we can do this. We are warriors. Warriors. Fighters. I might come back and do a stream later on today. So I can really go, I'm almost done with the absolute Batman versus Ice piece. So, might as well just get that done. Get that statement out there. Solid Snake? Yep. No one hears the words they say. You know, Ocelot, sometimes when I'm around you, I feel invisible. Hold on, is it Ocelot? How about no? What's Snake's girlfriend? You know, Meryl, sometimes when I'm around you, I feel invisible. You know what? I did play one Metal Gear Solid game. It was called Phantom Pain, but, I did not finish it because it was so hard, and I was too much of a puss boy to actually have some follow through with it. So. I went out my own way. I bought a Kojima masterpiece. Hi, what am I drawing? Easy. I'm drawing the big boss. The big boss. I'm drawing Solid Snake. I'm drawing the Metal Gear Solid protagonist. I just had a interview with a concept artist in the industry, and you know, I'm just chilling right now. Phantom Pain is a different beast from the other cat. Yeah, it is, it is. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. If you feel so thankful, maybe you could like and subscribe. Subscribe, please. 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 Thank my wife, please. I hate her. I got caught so many times. I gotta check out your channel first. Ah, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants. Gotta check out so much channel first before they subscribe. Think you're better than me? No, I'm sorry, no. No, that's completely fair. That's completely fair, you know. Alright. I need some further reference. Alright. Alright. I 310, I have to call it. I need food, I need sustenance. I must have it. I must have sustenance, I must have food. I hunger. Ich habe Hunger. Hunger.
think this is where it ends. This is where it ends. I am going to stream later on today, but until then, I am starving. So, keep drawing, keep hating ice, keep on being creative, and keep hating AI. Play with Kiss. I love you all platonically. And I'm gonna go eat something now. Because it's been, I think we started this at 12. It's been 3 hours. I gotta go. Thank you. Domo. Hamzamida. Danke. Gracias. And goodbye. Broken.